ROK Cup USA, featuring racing from coast to coast. Fast, friendly, and fun. Come join us at ROK Atlanta, ROK Pacific, Florida Winter Tour, or ROK Vegas. ROK Cup USA, home of ROK Vegas and the original Florida Winter Tour. ROK Cup USA, serious fun. Got grip? Let her rip. Putting the rubber to the road. Levanto.
From Italy for the world. Vortex Engines. Powering ROK Cup champions worldwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday afternoon at ROK Vegas 2024. You're watching live on ROK Cup USA YouTube. I'm Tony Laporta, and I'm joined gratefully by the Chris Wheeler. Chris, welcome back.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me hang out all week long, honestly. Had a great time so far, and we're down to now, 4 more main events.
1 with ROK Mini, 2 with GP Senior Pro, 3 with Shifter Pro, 4 with GP Junior, 5 with VLR Senior.
Copy. Sorry.
I had a hard time keeping track of the laps the other day.
I'm having a hard time keeping track of the schedule.
It's okay. Life is all about learning and growing, and God gives his toughest challenges to his strongest warriors.
Speaking of challenges, how about this racetrack? It's kind of been a challenge today for some of the main events, some of the finals.
Yes.
As some might want to call it. Wind definitely picking up like crazy. It's been blowing all day long. It's going to affect drivers different parts. Luckily, the wind blowing west-east racetrack really situated north to south. I don't really know if that's true or not. I just know that the wind can play havoc on these barriers. And at some point, the drivers have a headwind, and at some point, they have a tailwind.
You know what I love about these winds is that they're blowing us together. And we're closer thanks to the wind. Here we go, ROK Mini Vegas out on track. It's the ROK Mini final here at Vegas. Nico Orbezo is your pole sitter alongside Miguel Suarez in the 126. Marco Samut starts third with Callan Berghofer in the 4th position. Braden Wagner starts 5th with Riker Magro in 6th. Lorenzo Varela starts 7th, John McClellan in 8th. Then it's Troy Ferguson and Maximilian de Guzman, your top 10. Jackson Craveno is 11th with Kason Hodge 12th. Simon Jack Klein 13th. Salomon Piragua 14th. And Grayson Walcott the top 15. Field makes their way through turn number 11. They'll head for 12 and wait to see the lights go out. Micro and mini races are 10 minutes plus 2 laps. Orbezo down on the inside. Suarez up top in the 126. Afternoon final racing at ROK Vegas 2024. Does not go off as they will go around and take another attempt at this start. They had us on the edge of our seats, Chris.
They did, but they threw out the laundry. Yellow flag, false start.
You hate to see it.
The 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
This allows us to hit the rest of the starting grid. Grayson Walcott rolls off in 15th with Valentino Santillan in 16th, Nico Katowski 17th, Vian Bindi in 18th, Neve Adesra 19th, Lucas Faria 20th, Paxton Romero starts 21st, Rodolfo Lavin 22nd, Damian Diaz 23rd, Wes Witt 24th, Payne 25th, Emilio Wong 26th, Marco Fazzari 27th, Ava Cabral 28th, Luis Martinez 29th. They'll be led to the green flag, or there's no green flag. We outgrew those.
The lights, they're headed to the lights. Lights, lights, lights. Technology, technology, technology.
Me, I don't mind seeing an old-fashioned green flag every once in a while. Call me old school.
You are old.
Old-looking, perhaps. Nico Orbezo is the pole sitter with Miguel Suarez on his outside in that second spot. So we'll try it again here. As that train, it is a roll-in, I think northbound. I'm not sure. That's a thumbs up from Brandon. He is our official director of compasses here in the booth.
Oh, boy.
And now we'll try it again. Orbezo and Suarez brings this field of 29 ROK Mini drivers into the tram lanes. Ryan Egan lines them up side by side. The lights go out, and we go racing. Good jump for the outside lane as Orbezo slips to third, maybe even back to fourth on the initial start. That's exactly where he ends up until turn 3. He may lose another spot. No, Orbezo able to shut the door, so he goes from first to fourth on the start. It's Miguel Suarez leading him into the infield.
Clean and green all the way now through turns number 4 and 5. Right-hander at 6, left hand down at 7, down to the heavy braking zone, turn number 8.
Field makes their way towards the back straightaway, and it is a tightly packed foursome at the front. Orbezo, we talked about him getting slipped back on the start. He chases the 111 of Riker Magro in the third position as they unwind the steering wheel in the Masquerade Tower hairpin, turn number 10. Lap 1 comes to a close. Let's see what Orbezo has here as he's going to quickly go to work on trying to climb back up the leaderboard. Orbezo fourth, Magro third, Berghofer up to second on the initial start. Berghofer went lights out for this race in fourth. That outside lane really did get a good jump, Chris.
Yeah, they had a good run there. Put Miguel Suarez out in front. Berghofer in a tight second, and Riker Magro in the top 3 like we saw there. But how long will Orbezo take before he turns it back up?
Yeah, that's the watch right now is what Orbezo decides to do here early on in this race. 10 minutes plus 2 laps, the scheduled distance for our mini rockers. Pretty cool. Handed out the F4 US Radford Racing School scholarship. Sarah Bradley scoring the scholarship there. So big thanks to Radford Racing and the F4 US Series. You've enjoyed watching what Sarah Bradley can do on track as Orbezo takes a look to the inside but tucks back in line for a potential challenge for third. But yeah, great to see a young lady who has supported Rock Cup racing here in 2024, and not just supported it, but has been at the front of practically all the fields she's contested. Good to see her get a chance to begin to grow her career into other forms of the sport.
Yep, definitely looking forward to that, along with that F4 USF4 and Radford Racing School scholarship that was handed out. Also, a couple Omologato watches.
Omologato.
So each of the winners. That was cool.
I was scared of saying the name during the podium for fear of messing it up, but you're so good at it.
Well,
maybe you should help out at podiums. Nah. Omologato, domo arigato, says Miguel Suarez as the race leader. Berghofer in second. Let's look at the gap. 0.083 was the lap gap last time. It grows now to over 1/10 of a second. It doesn't look like it, though.
What we didn't see was Orbezo make the move up to third.
No, he did not. So move Magro back to fourth now as Orbezo quickly gets done with that pass for third and will begin to set his sights on Berghofer. Orbezo trying to get back to where he started this race, and that was up on the top of the leaderboard as the pole sitter.
So the top 7 cards are kind of broken out here, and in 7th spot, Ferguson in the 143 goes purple, 49.290. That's half a second faster than the leader last lap.
That's Ferguson?
Yeah.
Really good lap there. Varela right behind in 8th, John McClellan 9th, and Valentino Santillan, the top 10. Leader streaked down the front straightaway. And that sun already dropping a little bit here in the late afternoon. Well, it's not really the late afternoon, it's the early afternoon.
Oh, no. We just talked about Ferguson gone purple, and that lap he went all the way back 8 spots to 15th. Meanwhile, Samut moves up 1.
Let's see here what Berghofer does. Berghofer's got pressure all around. Callan's got to be careful because you got Orbezo and Samut right behind. And it's not really like there's a rush right now, Chris. We're still not even to the halfway point on the clock. And once that expires, there's still 2 more laps to go. So we're quite a ways from halfway. And just as I say that, Berghofer makes the move down to the inside in turn number 10. My point was going to be Berghofer doesn't really have to get after it. There's not a lot of pressure from the clock. There was just pressure from behind. Well, Berghofer said, nah, fam, I'm going to the lead. And that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, Berghofer with a big move there. And 10, covered it well on exit. Now they head off into turn number 3. Everybody's staying in line for the most part. Top 5 here. That's Berghofer, Suarez, Orbezo, Samut, and Magro. They've kind of started to roll away from the field. They have about a 1.5 second gap from the last car in the group all the way back to 6th. Pretty good stuff here early on, but here we go. And the little side-by-side look. Nothing there as they exit turn number 9.
Well, Berghofer's got to be thinking already, I just did it to them here in turn number 10. Will they do it to me? No, not this lap. Not this time. Berghofer stays in line with Suarez right behind. Suarez got out to an early race lead after starting in the off-pole position. And when the lights went out, no, not in Georgia, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Suarez was able to work that outside lane and jump down to get the hole shot. So Suarez, your leader, Orbezo in second. Orbezo carries a good amount of speed. Suarez wants to go right back to the front. Oh, but he runs wide and opens the door for Orbezo. Orbezo returns to the top spot.
Yeah, big move there by Orbezo. Saw that one coming. Nice light apex, tight exit, carried the momentum. Top 3 now are actually going to check out just a little bit. That should be, I believe the biggest penalty there might have gone.
Berghofer from first back to third.
No, I think it was Orbezo back to, well, yeah, I guess it would have been Orbezo, I believe, back to fourth. He kind of separated, no?
No, Orbezo just took the lead. The 158 jumped up down to the inside in turn number 3 after the 126 of
I'm not going to lie,
Suarez.
Tony, I've been looking at decal kits here. It was Samut that dropped back. Now it makes sense.
There
I've been
we
looking
go.
at decal kits, not numbers. My apologies.
That's okay. That's okay. As now you see the corner they made those passes happen 1 lap ago, turn 3 they've already come out of. Now they roll through the left-hander, turn number 4, and into the infield section. This is definitely a nice track filled with variety at 0.75 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile around, 12 turns. This track has a little bit of everything, and that's an opportunity right there for great passing out of 8 and into turn number 9. Orbezo has the race lead. Can Suarez do anything here at the back straightaway? Perhaps, but thinks better of it and stays in line. Berghofer sucks right back up to the rear bumper of the 126. Magro and Samut. Quick look over the shoulder by Suarez. Lots of time still left in this one. Still over 3 minutes before they see the 2 to go.
Yeah, top 5 doing everything they can to kind of stay top 5 and keep stretched out here. It's about just over 1.2 seconds back to Santillan, Wagner, and the 149 of Jackson Creveno. They're trying to do everything they can to catch that lead group, try to take an opportunity.
We got some Orbezo fans in the chat keeping up with this race here. We thank everybody for tuning in live and joining us here on Rock Cup USA YouTube. Where can you get a product this good, this quality, and this consistent for free?
For this price?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. For this price and for free. Leaders come down. Orbezo is going to give way to Suarez as Suarez put the moves on just in that last run around the track. So now you see the 126 of Suarez back in the second position, or back in the lead rather, after starting the race in the second position.
So Suarez cruising here with Orbezo, Berghofer. That's your top 3. Magro and Samut holding on to that group, even though Samut kind of dropping back about a half a second here off of Magro. Maybe they're trying to break out to a 4-way group here out front. Man, Santillan's been ripping laps trying to catch up to this group. Last lap, Santillan was half a second faster than the cart in front of him. About 2.5 tenths faster than everybody in front
How
of him.
about the fact that Valentino Santillan is scored 6th right now, Chris, and he went lights out in 16th?
That's a great move there. Cart number 100, but definitely been closing in each and every lap. You see it again, 49.4 to the leaders, 49.6. Slowly chipping away, all by himself out there.
That's not just a great move, that's a lot of great moves as Fazzari moves up another spot from 23rd to 2nd, getting around Rodolfo Lavin. So move Fazzari up from 23rd to 22nd. And yep, this 4-pack of carts, 5-pack of carts is quickly going to become a 6-pack as Valentino Santillan is very, very close to joining this lead draft around the Rock Vegas layout here in 2024. Albeit a bit windy, a beautiful Sunday for racing here in early November outside the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Orbezo with a good run of steam out of turn 12 down the front straightaway. Got to have a little bit of front to rear bumper contact there, at least at the start-finish line. Orbezo gets off the gas and keeps Suarez out in front, but so much energy. You used that term 2 days ago, and I love it. There's so much energy in these big packs of carts.
No, absolutely. And the longer they run a single file, the more the energy builds. However, the larger the energy when it all goes to nothing, the worse it can be for people.
Okay, how about this right here? A move for the third position. That's going to be Magro going to the inside of the 110 of Berghofer. Is he able to get the job done? They continue to try to sort things out on the entry into turn number 10, and Magro does get the spot, move the 111 from fourth up to third.
Well, the big thing they did there was they allowed Valentino Santillan to really catch up and now get to the back of this group, and Santillan actually making a move on Berghofer here.
Look at this. The 158 of Orbezo took a look to the inside on the entry to turn number 2, and that has officially set the alarms off for Miguel Suarez. Suarez beginning to drive defensively, and that has effectively turned this fight for the lead into the fight for the win, and it becomes a 6-cart pack up front.
It is a 6-cart pack for sure. I still don't think the 100 event Valentino Santillan's done. You said came from 16th on the grid, currently working 5th.
No, absolutely no way Valentino is done. Berghofer trying to claw back up after running up there in the top 2 and top 3. Lost 2 spots there in turn number 10. 1 lap ago, and that's all we have left is 1 lap around. White flag waves here in ROK Mini. Everybody getting down nice and low on corner entry, but you know that does
what a
your
crossover.
exit speed. 158 of Orbezo gets the job done before they even get to the passing opportunity in 3.
What a beautiful crossover there. That was set up so well in turn number 1.
Orbezo just stayed at home and knew that as Suarez defended, it was going to hurt his exit speed. Here we go, 8-9. This is a really good spot to make something happen. The track goes to the left, but then it bends right back to the right. Orbezo has them covered. To 10 they'll go for the final time, Chris.
6 carts for the opportunity, 1 winner. Saito by Saito with a big crossover coming from Magro. 3 wide now, headed to turn number 11.
Orbezo, Suarez, and Magro all try to sort it out here in the very end. The 126 might celebrate a little too early. It's a photo finish.
Nico Orbezo by 4/100ths of a second.
Wow, you just wonder if Suarez maybe took his hand off the wheel a tick too early there and hurt his momentum. Regardless of what the cause was, Orbezo wins a nail-biter here in Vegas.
Unbelievable finish here from the mini group. Tony Laporta jumps down the fire escape from high above the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino, headed on down to the scale house. Nico Orbezo, 0.047 over Miguel Suarez. Marco Samut third. Valentino Santillan all the way from 16th to 4th. Riker Magro is going to round out your top 5. Then we Callan Berghofer, Braden Wagner, Kason Hodge, Troy Ferguson, and Jackson Craveno, your top 10 here in Mini. ROK Mini final in the books. Good stuff we had there. Unbelievable finish from these young drivers. Just like that, we're now down to 4. Four left after this, and Tony Laporta should be reporting to us here from the scales shortly. So we're going to check away for a take you on a little tour here, a little station identification. When we come back, we will be live from the scales.
Down here in the scale line after ROK Mini wrapping up, and Nico Orbezo with the victory. We're going to wait to see what officials want to do here as far as rolling across. I think they're going to pull the cone and let these carts begin to move. There we go. So we'll let the leaders make their way across the scale line, then we'll come over here and talk to our winners. So Orbezo getting the job done in the 158. What a wild finish to that one here in Rock Mini. Nico Orbezo celebrating the victory. All right, that looked pretty crazy there in the last couple of corners. Tell me what that last lap was like.
So when I saw that Miguel was going narrow and I saw the kids behind me pushing me, I thought I wanted to over-under him because he was gonna blow the corner. So I over-undered him. Then I just tried to defend as much as possible. At the end, I went a little bit too wide and Miguel managed to get through. But then I got a good run down the straight, and Michael Samet pushed me a little bit at the end to give me the win.
That was a crazy, hectic finish coming out of turn number 10 over there in the hairpin. Do you spend a lot of the race thinking and planning these moves, or do you just kind of have to react to what happens in front of you in real time?
Yeah, I just have to react because at the beginning I was just focusing on catching back up because of my bad start. So there I was just trying to react with whatever happened.
All right, Nico, great job. Anybody you want to thank for the victory here today in Vegas?
So first, my mom and my dad for supporting me, my brothers, OTK, IPG for helping me, AM Engines, and Michael Samet for giving me the push at the end.
Look at that, Nico Orbezo, ladies and gentlemen. He is your winner here today in Rock Vegas for Rock Mini, and he was thinking about that move the last lap or two, it sounds like, and that's a good way to start off the afternoon of finals here, Chris. Back up to you in the skybox.
All right, Tony Laporta, thank you for that. Great coverage down there at the scales. Just like that, the afternoon here from Rock Vegas underway. With an absolute barn burner there in Mini. So we're going to cut away, though, now for couple interviews here. Check out some work done earlier in the week. And when we come back, we will have Speed Lab Race Engines Rock GP Pro coming your way.
Wrapping up the last couple rounds of practice here before qualifying for Rock Vegas takes place. And I've been away from karting for a little bit, so it's good to see familiar faces. Jordan Muster, you're a super familiar one. Still racing out of the state of Texas, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so you're here with PSL. You're in a Burrell. I don't believe that's what you were racing the last time I saw you.
Probably.
Really?
I ran an Intrepid 1 year.
Okay.
So maybe that was that year, but I've been Burrell most of my career.
Okay, all right. Well, that's me not doing my fact checking. What do you make of this Rock Vegas event? What do you make of the track? Just how's the weekend going for you guys as we get ready to kick off official qualifying?
Yeah, it's been really tight up front. I think in the last session there was 5 guys within a 10th. So I'd rather be ahead of everybody 2 tenths, but to have level of competition is incredible. So that's what I look for in a race is like, are the tires good? Are the engines parity? And are the drivers competitive and racing well? And so far we've seen a bunch of fast guys, tires last a long time, good grip, engines seem really close. So I think it's got all the things you need to have a successful race.
Well, you bring up a great point. You talk about the Levanto tire. This is obviously not a typical racetrack. It's not really nice, smooth, manicured asphalt, nice pavement. This is a parking lot with a lot of different, probably kinds of surface. I mean, obviously it's all paved asphalt, but it changes. There's oil sitting in some places. There's high spots. There's low spots. What is it like trying to get that Levanto tire to give you everything you need around a track so, I don't know,
different,
unique?
Yeah,
with just so many different characteristics throughout a lap that you'll have here.
So that is a big difference from being on a street course and a permanent track. Even on a permanent track, you look for little areas to gain an advantage, a dip for grip or something. You multiply that times 10 on a track like this.
Right.
So you're not only looking for, okay, where are other people going? Even if I don't want to go there, I might have to because that's where the rubber is. But then you're also trying to thread the needle between bumps. There's several sections on this track where the preferred line is a bumpy line. So you either have to get the cart really straight to make it over those bumps, or you've got to move over 18 inches. Now you're with less grip, but you can go through that section and slip a little and it won't start hopping. So it adds another dynamic to an event like this.
And again, you can tell you've got so much time in this sport because you bring up such great points. That leads me to another question is, it's such a dance with these frames. You can really risk being too bound up, I feel like, especially on a track with so much kind of surface versatility in it. So how free do you want your chassis to be? how not bound up do you want it to be to get through the bumps, but also risk being too free and losing control through the fast, wide, long corners? Just what's that balance like between having the chassis how you want it and how you need it?
So I swear I'm not sponsored by Levanto, but the tires are incredible, and the grip is actually fairly high, considering we're on a temporary circuit. So you're correct. The overgrip is the situation. But with 40 plus horsepower, it's more about the driver delivering the power properly. What I found, and I believe to be true of most of the professional drivers, is that they dial in more grip than an amateur could handle because it'll hop, but then they manage the hop with the throttle.
Yep.
So instead of whacking the throttle open, they put the grip in the cart so it accelerates, but they go like this. So they roll into it to keep the chassis from hopping, but still get that outside tire dug in so it'll accelerate. So I think we're always looking for grip without an understeer if you can manage the throttle.
Wow, I love that explanation, and you really do such a good job with all the time you have driving these things at articulating. It's not just an on-off switch with the throttle, it's definitely not an on-off switch with the brake, and you're using your feet to really build grip, moderate grip, modulate grip rather. I love how you break it down. Let's switch gears really quickly. See rock shifter, what I did there? Let's change topics. When I was last around, when you weren't racing karts, you were really big into building your own performance cars. Last thing I think I remember you doing was you were building out a Porsche for yourself.
Yep.
Are you still doing that? Do you still kind of do the builds on your own?
So that car is complete.
Okay.
I've been driving it now for probably 4 years.
And what Porsche was it?
So it started as a Porsche Cayman,
Okay.
07, wide body, all the look stuff. But the big stuff is I did a twin turbo V8 in it, almost 2,000 horsepower, 1,700, 1,750.
Wow.
Made it to a gated transmission out of a Lamborghini Gallardo.
Yeah.
So it's got a full gated manual with the clinks and all that. Makes just under 2,000 horsepower. Street car, I drive it every week to dinner, out, all that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Now, refresh my memory, because I remember you being in the Become One movie.
Yep.
And you talked about your career away from racing. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. Architect? What do you do? I forgot.
Close. Engineering.
Engineering.
My degree is in mechanical.
Okay.
Things have changed recently. I was in really random lighting,
Yeah.
so like LED lighting, big business from 2008 to about 2020.
Yeah.
Just about 7 months ago, I actually now work in motorsports.
Okay.
So I'm working for Holley
Yeah.
company, and I run their electronics, safety, and racing.
Oh, wow.
So the most brands you'd be familiar with are like Stilo, Simpson, obviously, Hans, and RaceQuip are all brands.
So unfortunately, having to cut that interview with Jordan Musser a little short. I think that happened the last time we tried to play it. It ran long, Chris, because Jordan is such a wealth of information and a great guy to talk to. So hopefully we can play the rest of that a little bit later on, as we just wrapped up with ROK Mini. How about Nico Orbezo sitting there being nice and patient and letting that race come to him?
Yeah, really smart move there.
Up next, we've got the Speed Lab Racing Engines ROK GP Pro Final. Blake Nash and Frankie Mossman in your front row with Stephen Miller and Kai Hunter in row 2. Oliver Marak rounds out the top 5 with Santiago Fernandez, Gavin Wardell, Buck Rivetta, Max Saga, Craig Vasquez, and Laurent Legault. The 6th and final row here in Speed Lab Racing Engine ROK GP Pro. We are racing, and Blake Nash gets high, wide, and handsome to score the whole shot and lead into turn 3.
Yeah, they're going to have to really wow, Mossman all the way back to 5th.
It's a 4-cart Nash Motorsports train up at the front.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw their best shots they can at Nash here early if they're going to want to slow him down. He's been on kind of a different level through heats 3 and 4.
Trouble for the 302. Max Saga. Max Saga with trouble out of turn number 3.
That stinks. That's just never a fun way. You've been here all week long to have those kind of issues. Meanwhile, move back to the bottom there in turn 10, unable to see who exactly that was. Drivers come by the start-finish line for the first time, waiting on a little time and scoring update. But yeah, they're going to have to take their shots at Nash early if they want to get to him, and it looks like he's already starting to roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Frankie Mossman at the tail end of that original start there with some of those Nash drivers, but Mossman already quickly going to work. He's back up into the 3rd position, and we've talked about him a lot. Sounds like, do I remember correctly, Chris, when you were saying he was at the Indy Lights test at IMS a few days ago?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago he ran the Chris Griffiths Memorial for Hunkos Hollinger and Indy Next. Then he did the next 2 days in Indy Pro for Jay Howard at the Fall Combine for the USF Championships. Then he also just did Barber Motorsports Park in an Indy Next car for Hunkos Hollinger. So, pretty sure he's committed to running an Indy Pro next year with Jay Howard, but bright future still ahead for Frankie Mossman.
I mean, and while those race cars are very different, Mossman now takes a look to the inside and gets the second position away from the 377 of Stephen Miller. The point I'm making is while those are race cars, those are suspension and aerodynamically dependent machines, seat time is seat time, and seat time is a good thing.
Yeah.
No doubt that Mossman has benefited from being in a race car, being behind the wheel, something competitive and fast so much recently. Not a surprise we see him doing so well here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented race car driver to begin with, and so, sticking with karting, continuing to hone his own skills in this, it's great to see out here for sure, but Mossman, albeit he's in second, he's going to have to figure something out because he's already half second back.
Well, he was purple. He was the fastest car on the track until Kai Hunter came by and ripped the Band-Aid off, 44.177. Kai Hunter, your quickest car on the track. Nash was a 44.25. Mossman a 44.22. It's a little, but it can end up being a lot if he continues to be faster than the leader Nash.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a good job, right? He's not letting Nash really get away too much. Nash was so strong in the latter parts of our heat races yesterday in 3 and 4, and I think Mossman obviously showing early speed here. Can he hold it up over the next 14 minutes plus 2 laps?
Yeah, we'll see what the lap times look like here. 0.4 of a second was the gap last time by. It stays 0.4 of a second, but Mossman now the quickest car on the track. He goes purple thanks to a lap of 44.089. Problem with that is the guy he's chasing is a 44.098.
Yeah, I mean,
incredibly competitive up at the front right now.
Yeah, it's so tight on the speeds, and one of Frankie's comments after day number 1 of heat races told me was, I got to be more aggressive at the start. Got to be more aggressive at the start on cold tires, and I've got to put myself in a better position to be able to attack later. And I think that's what he's trying to do right here.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job under braking on the entry to the Masquerade Tower hairpin over in turn number 10. This should be a very good lap for Mossman. 0.487 was the deficit last time by. It shrinks to 0.258. Mossman back-to-back purple laps. 43.916 for the driver in second, and he is absolutely eating Blake Nash's lunch under braking right now.
Yeah, the first lap under sub 44 seconds. That belongs to Frankie Mossman. The Speed Concepts 301. He may be faster right now. He may be able to get to the back bumper, but is he going to be able to get around Blake Nash in the next 13 minutes? Or getting around him? Okay, let's just say he passes him. Think he'll be able to pull away?
Right.
Like, this is going to be a battle, and if they're smart, they'll kind of be patient and they'll let it be a 1v1 battle. But if they get too racy too early with this much time left, this one could go back to Kai Hunter in fourth. He's 2.8 seconds off the leader in fourth. Kind of have his own little race going on with Stephen Miller. But it's going to be tough.
Mossman gets the lead down to less than 0.2 of a second, 0.197. Frankie Mossman is now behind Blake Nash. But, Chris Wheeler, you bring up so many great points. All right, can he, first of all, does he maintain the pace to get there? Once he gets there, what does he do with it? All right, say he passes him. Can he pull away and keep himself safe from an attack, a retaliation from Blake Nash, Stephen Miller, Kai Hunter, and any of the other drivers here in the Speed Lab Racing Engine ROK GP Pro Final? That's what makes racing so great, right? What happens next? What do you do? Blake Nash says, I'll tell you what I do. I go purple. Nash lays down the best lap of the race so far, 43.906. Mossman a 43.908. Chris, 2/1000ths of a second, the difference in the lap times for the top two.
Yep, and you can see right here, Nash actually pulling out a little bit of a gap there through like 4, 5, 6, 7 area. Just got a better exit.
So maybe Nash is just geared or perhaps set up better for the tight technical infield section. And maybe as we watch here and focus a little bit more tightly, is Mossman better in the long, straight, fast stuff where he's on the acceleration?
As we pull up our weather station here, start looking at some things. Ambient's up to 65, track temp about 90 degrees right now. The sun's been on it for several hours, Tony, and I think this is about the time of day when we're going to see the track kind of start to degrade a little bit. Things are going to start to get a little bit junky in the rubber, but, man, this race is going to be good. We still have 10.5 minutes plus 2 laps.
It almost feels like we're getting cheated, like it should be longer or something.
I agree with you.
43.913 for Blake Nash last time by to a 43.964 for Frankie Mossman. The top of these fields in all of these ROK Cup categories are so competitive. Chris said it, everything is so tight. when it comes to the speeds in these fields. Nash went purple. Mossman did him one better. 43.867 for Nash. Mossman says, hold my Starbucks. 43.818 Mossman. Now the quickest card on the track. The lead stays level at 0.2 of a second.
Big gap now developed over Stephen Miller in the 377 who runs third. He's 2.8 seconds off your lead pair here. Whew. Then another 2 seconds back to Kai Hunter. Santiago Fernandez, another 2 seconds back from there. So got a bunch of cards out the back here, one-on-one, just kind of cruising, hoping, hanging on. They're going to play the long game here, I guess, hoping for some attrition.
Look at this pack right here come through turn number 10. I think that's going to be Maroc, Wardell, and Rivetta. And while it would be great to go back in and check on that fight, this is the final. These drivers signed up and put their money on the table to race for the win. And while it's not the win yet, it's the race for the lead. Blake Nash and Frankie Mossman are having a knockdown, drag-out battle of qualifying laps here right now. Oh, my God. Last time by, they were identical.
Yep.
Nash, a 44.026. Mossman, a 44.026. Incredible the pace these two are maintaining while pushing each other at the front of the field.
Yeah, we still have a full minute before they get to their heat race length.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if Nash might be a little surprised that Mossman has hung in this long. Mossman's obviously had speed all week, but Nash was so good yesterday. Tip of the cap to both crews here. Nash Motorsports and Speed Concepts, both of them brought some absolute hot rods for these two drivers in the feature.
Yeah, it's a good
final.
point.
Final.
It's a good point. Hey, feature, final, main event, it all counts, right? But you bring up a great point. It's not just the drivers, it's the tuners and the data guys and the team owners who put so much in to these karts, all the karts here, and being competitive. It's in the driver's hands once they go out on track, right? Yeah. That's I think something that Michael Schumacher, I don't know if it was Weldon, who said, karting's the purest form of motorsport there is.
That would be Senna.
Oh, was it Senna?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, three greats right there. Easy to kind of mix them up. Wow. A San Pellegrino delivered here by Jason Ewers. I won't be drinking that because I didn't finish college. But they talk about karting being the most pure form of motorsport, and that's because once the lights go out, the green flag waves, whatever it is, you're racing. There's no pit stop. There's no strategy. There's no full course yellows typically, and it's just the driver and the machine. But before it's just the driver and the machine, it's the machine, it's the tuner, it's the data, it's the engine builder, it's the driver, everybody coming together to make these things work. And I think that's the biggest misconception about racing, Chris, is that it's not just an individual sport. You grow up and you watch your favorite kind of racing and you just think the driver and the car. But you now know from the work you do in IndyCar, you've known for a while, it is a true team sport, even at this level.
No, 100%. And what's really catching me off here that I'm really interested in is nobody else on track but your top two have dipped sub 44 yet. And these two have been running sub 44 laps now for 7 laps. 43.978, 43.919. Nash to Mossman, back and forth every single lap here. Every time Nash builds out what looks like a 2-3 kart lead, give it 2 or 3 corners, and here comes Mossman back. And they're just taking shots here.
This is incredibly mentally fatiguing on drivers to just stay as close as Mossman is to Blake Nash and not screw up, to hit your marks, to be as aggressive as possible, to drive like there's no one in front of you that you could risk running into or getting slowed up by. An absolute tip of the cap. I mean, I'll give him a hat shake, Frankie Mossman, for staying as focused as he is, and same to Blake Nash. Blake knows Mossman's there, right? It's not like Blake Nash
he can hear him at this point.
Yeah, Nash doesn't think he's out there by himself. So for both of these drivers to stay on their game for as long as they are and to have not slipped up, made a mistake, missed a braking point, there's no gears to grab in these single speed karts, but very impressive the work that these two drivers have done. Saw a pass for position right there into turn number 10. Could that have possibly been Kai Hunter on Fernandez, or was that farther back?
I want to say it was farther back, but Santiago Fernandez moved up the lap before to 4th. Marak just got around Hunter that last lap for 5th is what that one was. So Kai Hunter starting to slip back here a little bit. Nash, Mossman, Miller, Fernandez, Marak. That's your top 5. That'll be Hunter, Warnell, Rivetta, Vasquez, and Saga. Saga unfortunately retired early. Craig Vasquez is now apparently retired. He's a lap off pace. I think I just heard him come by.
Did you hear them or the train?
They're all the same to me at this point.
Well, the train does not sound like a ROK GP Pro. I'll just say it right now. What was it? Wake Organic that you had from
Wake
Organic.
I could use some more.
With Stephen Miller in that 377. And now Mossman has turned the pace back up here. A 43.969 to a 44.1, or a 44 flat. Mossman, that much quicker than race leader Blake Nash. But it's just such a, okay, what have you done for me lately? You've caught up, that's great, but what can you do with it now? And Mossman, I mean, I don't know. Is this just a matter of waiting till you see the sticks and knowing that you're
look,
close to the end?
We're completing lap 17 right now. There's 5 minutes to go. Fastest laps were recorded on lap number 9. Both drivers were 43.8s now, 44.0s, about 0.2 off their fastest race laps. Oh, here comes Mossman with a big look. He saw his opportunity, and he went for it. Mossman, now he's going to defend into 4 and 5. Nash is going to try and settle in here, see how long it's going to take for a strike back.
And I think that was a case of Mossman riding for lap after lap after lap and realizing, all right, I know that I can do it in turn number 3. That's where I've picked out a weakness, and that's clearly where it worked. So Mossman sat back and waited and made it work. But this is awful early to start driving defensive. Mossman is side by side with Blake Nash out of turn number 11. But as they cross the stripe, move Mossman to the top of the leaderboard. Frankie Mossman takes over the lead here in Speed Lab Racing Engine ROK GP Pro. But Chris, still more than 3.5 minutes of racing before we see 2 laps remaining.
Well, I can almost hear Mike Speed's thoughts right now in my own head. If he could say anything to Mossman right now, it's just calm down. You've been there. You've proven you can be there. You've got the speed. Now you've got to put it together. Stop over driving. Don't block. Don't get in this kind of this match right here. Just go run your race.
Boy, he hurt his exit speed right there. Nash is going to drive to the outside in turn number 10. Can he cross him over out of the Masquerade hairpin? No, he cannot. Mossman needs to get a small bit of breathing room, and then he can do exactly what you and probably Mike Speed are thinking, and that is settle down. And I think now he finally has that breathing room to hopefully do that.
Well, they need to, because Stephen Miller has closed in almost 2 seconds total in the last 2 laps. The gap now down to 2.2. And Stephen Miller, the fastest go-kart on the racetrack, over a second and a half faster than your leaders when they start running around the white line.
Yeah, Santiago. I love that definitely, the description of the defensive line, the white line down around the inside of the track where you don't really...
Joey Hand, actually, this morning and I were talking about some of the racing, and he said it, and I stole it.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah. That was all him.
Wow. Joey Hand now has another reason to talk to you and kind of, deal with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully...
I stole his phrasing.
You've done more than that, I think, today, this weekend. Mossman now has a 0.3 of a second lead over Blake Nash, and it should look sizable to those of you watching on the monitor. Blake Nash forces the issue down in 5, and he's going to do it. Check that turn 4 and 5. Oh, my gosh, right as I was about to say, I think Mossman might be walking away with this one. Blake Nash has...
Yeah, that was weird, though. I mean, that was a great move by Nash. I just didn't see the move coming.
Right.
Mossman
did
seemed
Mossman
to be
give it up a little too soon?
Mossman seemed to be kind of outside his marks there, getting into 4. That was really weird to me.
It came from deeper back than you would have expected.
Yeah, it just didn't. You watch these things over and over again, lap after lap. Because we're now about a minute and a half before we see the double sticks, and now we're gonna have to see how Mossman can respond.
Yeah, I really thought with a 0.3 of a second lead, that's the biggest you'd seen between those two in almost the entire race. I thought Mossman was beginning to really gap Nash and get a little bit of pull away going. That was not the case at all. Frankie Mossman, I don't even feel fair saying he left the door open because Nash was just so far back, but he made the pass and he made it work, and he now leads as they come through and out of turn number 10. They'll complete another lap here in Speed Lab Racing Engines ROK GP Pro, and with 1 minute and change on the clock there, they're not gonna run out of time.
That was 4 to go.
Okay, so our ticker on the top sometimes gets a little behind. They're actually operating inside of 35 seconds to go now, so this will be close to see if they can beat the clock back or not. But I think you're right. I think they'll be coming around to see 3 to go this time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kai Hunter Dropping another spot here is Gavin Wardell up to the 6th spot. Miller 3rd, Fernandez 4th, Marak 5th, Wardell in the 6th position. And I believe that Hunter has removed himself from the race.
Well, sometimes that'll happen. 5 seconds out of corner number 12, and we were both wrong. They will see 2 to go this time by.
Yeah, the clock was about 20 seconds shifted there.
Sometimes the ticker up on the top of the broadcast gets a little wonky, but that's why we reference this one.
Yep.
And that lets us know exactly how much time left.
You're smart.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Chris. So Mossman's going to do whatever he can now. He's going to look for every opportunity possible to try to go up there and get Blake Nash. That's going to be a lot easier said than done. They come out of the infield and head for the backstretch one more time. Mossman's doing a good job. He's keeping his head down, and he's driving very smooth. He literally puts his head down that time to just get a quick dip out of the air. We haven't seen Blake Nash do much of the same. So leaders come through 10, and out of the final corner, white flag will wave here. 0.2 of a second last time by with 2 to go. What is the deficit here? It shrinks to 0.1 of a second and change. Mossman has only a lap left to make something happen here, Chris.
And Mossman was exactly 1/10 quicker on that penultimate lap. Great exit here from turn number 3. Mossman to the bottom.
Whoa, they touch.
Oh, he's over him.
And
he's on top of him. Where's Stephen Miller?
Each other. Mossman and Nash throw it away on the white flag lap. They're going to go to 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Miller, Marak, Fernandez now 1, 2, 3.
Miller and Marak take it over. Stephen Miller thought he was out of it, would be collecting silver on the podium, or check that, bronze on the silver. Now he is staring gold in the face after his teammate and Mossman get together. Stephen Miller keeps his nose clean and scores the victory in Speed Lab Racing Engines ROK GP Pro. Marak ends up 2nd, Fernandez 3rd. What about Nash and Mossman? We have yet to see them cross the line, and they're not done falling, Chris.
Nash is going to cross in 4th, Wardell 5th, Mossman in 6th. As Tony Laporta heads to the scale line, this one ought to be interesting. What a final lap here. 24 laps. Nash and Mossman put on a show. There's contact on the white flag lap. Stephen Miller, the Wake Organic 377 machine, from 3rd to 1st in the final lap. That's all he needed, was that opportunity as Tony Laporta heads to the scales. He will have the inside story here, no doubt about that. Unbelievable drama here on the final lap of Speed Lab Racing Engines ROK GP Pro, right here from ROK Vegas. And now Tony Laporta's live at the scales. Tony, take it away.
Thanks so much, Chris. We are down here in the scale line, and if you could believe it, people are shouting at each other. That's right. But we're going to wait to talk to Stephen Miller, the unofficial winner here in Speed Lab Racing Engines ROK GP Pro. And it's always important to remind people that whether it's the winner, the top 3, the top 5, the top 10 podiums, and other results are always unofficial. But Stephen Miller is looking pretty good after that one. We're going to let him push the cart to the side, and then if Stephen would come over here after they throw that cart up, we'll talk to him. I'm excited to ask some of these questions. I just want to know what he saw. Stephen Miller scores the victory for Nash Motorsports, and they're going to put that 377 up on the stand. All right, Stephen. Okay, there's really only one thing to ask. What'd you see there going into the last lap?
Honestly, nothing much. I just saw Frankie and Blake stuck in the wall, so I haven't had the best motor this weekend, but we managed to win still.
When something like that unfolds in front of you, what goes through your mind? I mean, obviously the goal is just to keep it pointed in the right direction and get by him. But when you're in 3rd place, 2 to go, the white flag, maybe thinking your race is over, and then you see that, what happens in your mind when you see that out on track?
I mean, you just got to hope and pray, because who knows if they wash out wide and you go into them and you're a part of the wreck too. So you really got to get to the left of the track before they wash out wide, and, you know, obviously hope that you're not going to get wrecked.
Incredible stuff there. Just talk about the competition in Rock Cup USA racing these days. Stuff like that can happen, and it changes an entire race. You had to be there to be in it to win it. You were. How tight are these fields right now?
They're pretty tight. There's a lot of good drivers in the field. It's not many, but there's a lot of really good names out there, so competition's pretty good.
Stephen Miller stayed at home, did his job, and comes away with the provisional victory here in Speed Lab Racing Engines, ROK GP Pro. Really entertaining stuff right there, and they are done in the scales. They'll get ready to line up our next final of the day. Don't forget, folks, we're broadcasting live on Rock Cup USA for the rest of on-track action. I think we have a few other interviews queued up as we get ready to send our next final out on the track, so stay tuned, and we're going to check in with a few drivers we got to talk to earlier in the week here at ROK Vegas. Qualifying continuing here in Las Vegas, and it's not always you run into a celebrity in the pits. I almost didn't recognize you because I thought, well, surely this isn't the Ben Cooper, but in fact, after confirming with Cody Schindel, and I never like to confirm with him on things if I can help it, he did clue me into the fact that it is the one and only Ben Cooper. Getting the job done in VLR Masters, Ben, but I mean, you've done a lot. We got to talk to Gary Carlton a little while ago. Again, just like Gary, but for Canada, you've done so much in the world of just not only Canadian karting, but international karting. Why come to an event like this? Why be at ROK Vegas?
It stands out. This event in Vegas, it's one that everyone talks about across the world. It's an event at this stature, racing in a car park, it brings out a different level. It's not the same as on a normal track, right? You can get away with dropping a wheel and things on a normal track. Here you can't. So as drivers, as teams, you want to test yourself at the hardest environments, and this is one of them. And obviously ROK Cup USA, they put on an incredible event. So it's not just about all on track, it's about the atmosphere in the paddock and helping the teams out and stuff like that. So that's why we come back every year.
Well, you hit on something just like Gary did when a little bit later in his interview, he brought up the fact that he has some drivers and there's people here racing this weekend who are not used to barrier racing. And you didn't use the same term, but you talked about the fact that you can't just drop a tire. No. There's no runoff room here. And I mean, I feel like the answer is an obvious yes, but I mean, if you can go a little bit in depth, it's quite difficult, whether you're experienced or not. Gary talked about when Europeans would come over here to race in Las Vegas and be through barriers for the first time ever. It's quite a challenge when you're not used to that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's crazy, and I think what I like about it the most is the precision. You have to be precise every single lap, and you have to adapt because, like I said in driver's briefing earlier, the barriers move, the winds and stuff like that. Somebody might clip a barrier and it might be sticking out a little bit, like an inch further forward. And when you're trying to be precise, but you have to adapt quickly, that's what I think a lot of Europeans, when they come over, they struggle with that initially because the track changes and you have to adapt out there as well as being precise.
Precision, adaptability, all words that describe Ben Cooper. But when you look at just this event and the kind of the feel, you talked about the atmosphere behind it, it also is just, it's intense and there's a lot going on and you've got to be precise, as you said, but this also feels like a very fun event.
Yeah, 100%. It's fun. It's a bit more relaxed than most events. Like it's a bit spread out. Some people might not like that, but I personally like it. Having a bit of a longer schedule. We get time to debrief, get time to go over the GoPro, and I'm coaching the VLR seniors as well, so I get time to compare data and things. And as on a team side, that helps a lot. I think that's what ROK Cup USA do so well. They listen to teams, they understand what you need. To have that little bit extra time throughout the days to give a good customer service to your clients, right? And if the customers aren't happy, they won't come back. So ROK understands that here, and they work with the teams, and it's such a good event because of that.
Now you've got the Ben Cooper racing hat on. You've got the British flag. You've got the Canadian leaf in the middle of it. Yeah. I'm going to try to make sure I get this right because it's been a while since I've hung out at a race you've been at. British born, yes. Right? Living in Canada. Yeah. And back in the days of the Rotax Grand Finals and stuff like that, you would compete for Team Canada.
Yeah, so I born in the UK. I lived there up until 2012, and I moved out to Canada. This time last year, I got my Canadian passport, so I'm officially a Canadian citizen now.
Just recently?
Yeah, literally
wow.
2 years ago. Started last year, so just a year and 10 months I've got my Canadian passport now. So enjoyed citizenship, but the last 10, 12 years I've been representing Canada across the world, which is fun.
Starts are rolling behind us right now. Congrats on getting the pole in VLR Masters. It's going to be very exciting to watch you out on track a little bit later on. And you made the joke earlier, you said you're an old boy now. I don't think that matters at all. Anytime you're on track, it's always entertaining and exciting, so really looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, mate.
That's Ben Cooper getting the job done in VLR Master qualifying here in Las Vegas.
ROK Cup USA, featuring racing from coast to coast. Fast, friendly, and fun. Come join us at ROK Atlanta, ROK Pacific, Florida Winter Tour, or ROK Vegas. ROK Cup USA, home of ROK Vegas and the original Florida Winter Tour. ROK Cup USA, serious fun. Got grip? Let her rip. Putting the rubber to the road. Levanto.
From Italy for the world. Vortex Engines. Powering ROK Cup champions worldwide.
And we're back live in sound, color, and vision. I'm Tony Laporta, joined high above the front straightaway here at ROK Vegas up in the super sweet skybox. Chris Wheeler and I are catching our breath still after that race, but more importantly, the hike up those 20 stories. Chris, quite a race there in Speed Lab Racing Engine's ROK GP Pro. Frankie Mossman, Blake Nash getting together. Stephen Miller coming out on top after that one. Can you get your heart rate down in time for this next race?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Next up on track, we have got the PSL Karting ROK Shifter Final, ROK Shifter Pro Final, making their way out onto the speedway. I don't know if you can call it a speedway if it's a parking lot road course, but no one's told me not to yet. I'm sure the YouTube comments will in a moment. PSL ROK Shifter Pro ready to go. Chris, what do you think?
Well, Tony, I think that I'm having an absolute blast with you here today, and I think that these next 17 minutes plus 2 laps are going to provide some great racing. Morgado has been getting quicker throughout the week. I feel like, Wick has obviously had some great speed. Daniel Vasil, great speed. Danny Formal. Honestly, I think there's like 5 or 6 drivers who can win this one for sure. But there's the shadows, as we've talked about multiple times on the backside of that Masquerade Tower. Kind of going to change how the track plays out now. I feel like it's starting to get colder outside.
Yeah, the wind's been strong all day. And as the sun begins to lower, you feel the effects of that. That's what they call weather. PSL Karting brings you ROK Shifter Pro for the final time this weekend here at ROK Vegas. Daniel Vasil will take his Ital kart from the inside of the front row. Kyle Wick will line up along the outside in the 409. Mateus Morgado starts third with Danny Formal in the 4th position. Gulick rolls 5th with Remo Ricchetti in 6th. Hunter Pickett starts 7th with Ethan Boer in 8th. Michael Avancino rolls off 9th. Jared Ramanarayan starts 10th. Massimo Valiente starts 11th. Ayrton Littell 12th. Nolan Gagnon, Evan Concepcion, and Robert Hacker, your top 15. Cash Baxley and Vincenzo Saracino complete the 17 kart starting field. PSL ROK Shifter Pro goes to the lights. Shaggy's going to get out of the way. Vasil and Wick will put it into gear, grab the clutch, and when those 4 red lights high above the front straightaway extinguish, we are racing for the final time with ROK Shifter Pro here in Las Vegas. Boy, and Kyle Wick did everything he could to try to jump down to the inside and cover the field. He's going to slip to 3rd, tried to get back to 2nd on the entry to turn number 3. It's the Ital kart of Vasil driving away.
See Morgado here in 2nd, wearing that that finals day white suit, looking pretty sporty here.
And look at this, Vasil already with a healthy gap as Wick's going to dive down to the inside on Mateus Morgado. Move Wick up from 3rd down to 2nd. Morgado's going to stay in the throttle though. Wick stays down low as to cut off any attempt at a dive bomb pass. Morgado looks high, now looks low. The track goes from the left to the right and across the front straightaway. They complete lap number 1. Purple for the race leader, Daniel Vasil, 44-122, but we're going to see him go much quicker than that. Morgado pops down to try to fight for 2nd position. He does it. Danny Formal bought a ticket on this ride. He wants to go along. He cannot get it done there. Not yet, not now.
Big mover on lap number 1, though, was Ayrton Littell up 3 spots in the 9th place. So a great start for the 420 machine.
Lots of pressure. Dalton Egger is watching this race. He lets me know we don't need to call it a speedway. I can call it a racetrack. Look at Wick getting all crossed up on corner entry, trying to hold Mateus Morgado behind in 2nd. Morgado is going to get through. He'll bring Formal with him. Where does Wick end up on the backslide there? He goes from 2nd to 4th at the end of lap number 2.
Meanwhile, out in front, 2.3 seconds. Daniel Vasil in the number 495 Ital kart. Absolutely rolling away here.
It's going to be a lot more than 2.3 seconds for Vasil over the rest of this field if Morgado, Formal, and Wick continue to race each other the way that they are. Wick got an attempt down there for the pass in turn number 10, and he and Morgado and Formal shook everything up. And now you've got Morgado leading the train. He's not leading the race, he's just leading the pack. 2.3 seconds back from Daniel Vasil. Does the lead grow or shrink? Stays even, right at 2.3 seconds. Kyle Wick obviously driving with some anger now after that incident over in turn number 10. He goes purple. Wick, the fastest card on track, 41.733. And man, look at Morgado and the group of racers he has right behind him as they come through the infield. Danny Formal, third overall, second in the pack. Great spot for the pass right there in turn number 9. Formal pulls the trigger and accomplishes the job. Up from third, now to second. Formal is as high as we've seen him all weekend.
Yeah, Formal started last in the first heat race, and for the first time this weekend finds himself in second. Meanwhile, it's a 2.5 second gap for his next competition down the road. That's your leader, Daniel Vasil.
Yeah, and again, because this pack continues to race each other so hard, Daniel Vasil is just going to continue to get farther and farther away. Obviously, they know Vasil is up there and ahead of them, but they're driving like they're racing for the lead right now.
Well, Formal starting to kind of pull away a little bit here from Morgado, and as long as he doesn't miss any braking zones or shifts here, I think he's got a little bit more speed at this point of the race than Matias Morgado, and Morgado appears was kind of slowing him down.
So Kyle Wick driving, like we said, with anger, trying to get back to what was once his. He went lights out for this race in the second position, and now Wick makes an attempt for the pass down on the inside of corner number 1, and it took a while, but he also brings his teammate along with him. Is that Jacob? No, Hunter Pickett, I believe, comes along.
Pickett went purple last lap, 41.525.
Yeah, you said it though, Chris. Danny Formal doing a good job here. No, it was Gulick. I apologize. Gulick did come along with Kyle Wick, so they'll move up from 5th and 4th to 4th and 3rd. So good job there by the Team GFC drivers. And Danny Formal quickly doing what you said, opening up a gap from 2nd back to 3rd. Formal's able to do that by laying down his best lap of the race so far, 41.741. But Vasil is still quicker, a 41.71 to Formal's 41.74.
Yeah, I mean, Vasil, fastest go-kart on the racetrack. I mean, he is lights out right now. 2.8 seconds down the road. All clear, no pressure for your leader on board the 495 Ital kart.
I think Wick has a lot of outright pace here. He could get up to Danny Formal, but nearly 3 seconds separate your top two, and that's just a lot. It's a long race, though, and we've seen crazier things happen. 2.8 seconds, the gap last time by. What's it look like here? Even more, 2.9. But Kyle Wick does prove me right on one thing, and it's that he's got a lot of pace. Wick, your quickest card on the track, he goes purple thanks to a 41.446. Wick with a .446. Your race leader, Vasil, a .621.
Yeah, Vasil starting to roll more and more. Formal doing everything he can. We talked to Greg Belt earlier in the weekend. Actually talked to him for a brief moment at the scales after their warm-up. Asked him if they had anything for him. He said they're going to find out. They're in the best spot they've been in all week long. Man, oh man. So much racing left to go here, Tony. So much more excitement still on the board. But one thing that is definitely happening nope, not going to happen. Wick looked to Formal. I was going to say, though, these drivers, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they want more time.
It's crazy how just fast Kyle Wick can stay while racing with Danny Formal. And you push so hard in these shifters. 41.420. Kyle Wick is the fastest card on track for the 2nd lap in a row. Danny Formal lays down his personal best lap. It's 41.660, but Wick 0.2 of a second quicker at 41.420. And he's doing all that while chasing down Danny Formal. They race for the 2nd position, and right behind him, Jacob Gulick runs 4th. Morgado 5th, Pickett 6th, Brachetti 7th, Avancino, Valiente, and Boer the top 10.
So Wick continues to try and find his way around Danny Formal, and they chipped away about another 10th and a half that lap on Daniel Vasil. Vasil's lead, 3.2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that's massive. I mean, it's simply a big deal to have that much of a race lead this early in this style of racing. 41.486 last time by was Vasil's quick lap. I mean, that's a monster compared to Formal's 41.7 and Wick's 41.7. So I mean, yeah, they battled each other really hard at the start here. Wick looks like he might have something. He thinks he does. He pops out to the inside. Kyle Wick down on the inside in turn number 1 for second. He's got it. Move Kyle Wick up to P2, and the Team GFC train keeps on chugging because Kyle Wick and Gulick move up to second and third.
This is what you're going to see. What does Kyle Wick really have? 9 minutes, 36 seconds on the clock, plus 2 laps, and a gap of 3.3 seconds out the front. Is he going to be able to take any chunks out of this thing?
Yeah, I do. I think he's absolutely going to be able to take chunks out of it. Can he take 3.3 seconds out of it? There's time. There's absolutely time. 41.420, that's still the fastest lap of the race, and that was laid down by Kyle Wick on the 8th trip around this track. They come around to complete the 11th and start lap number 12. So we'll begin to watch the clock here. 3.6 seconds is the deficit for the first lap that Kyle Wick is clear and in second. His job now becomes chop wood, put your head down, run as hard as you can, and don't look up until you've caught 495.
Yeah, it's time to maximize these Levanto tires. It's everything you've got for the next 8 minutes, 50 seconds, and 2 laps.
Yeah, that's the tough part. You know the clock. You just don't know how many laps you have. So 3.6 seconds for the Italcart's advantage over the Team GFC driver, and Danny Formal was really in a good spot there, the best he had been. 3.7 seconds. The gap opens up even more, actually. Vasil was a .612. Wick was a .655.
You know, we've seen Vasil faster in the afternoon rounds all week long. Heat 2, Heat 4. Those are the later in the day, the better he's been. This one's going to, I think, playing right into his hands and what they've been working on all week. We talked about that a couple of days ago, how his drivers in practice and heat races were starting to be able to build that notebook, figure out what the track changes are like in the afternoon when the sun starts to move around. Once it's been cooked all day long, starts to cool back off. And I'm pretty confident right here, the 495 at Italcart, those guys have absolutely nailed it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, absolutely no doubt. Not only did they nail the setup, they nailed the timing of what they did with the cart, but you cannot get on the fact that Daniel Vasil has benefited massively from that 2, 3, 4 lap right at the start.
Oh, yeah.
Onslaught from second on back.
Yep.
Wick, Formal, Morgado, all of them were racing each other like it was the last lap. And that's fine. That's what I keep saying. It's a race. You're here to race. Battle if you can. But just don't be surprised if the guy in front of you can't see him anymore when you're done doing that with the guys you've been racing with.
Yep, just over 7 minutes on the clock here. We've not seen your leader. We've not seen your leader for about 7 laps.
Yeah, because it's hard to keep. You can't keep everybody in the same camera frame when there's 3.6 seconds.
You go a little bit out of your corner. Coming through turns 4 and 5. Be able to get glimpses of your leader every so often. But just know that Italcart is absolutely checked out right now.
Well,
Antonio Laporta, I have never seen a shifter race here at Rio be dominated so much.
No, absolutely. And people are always saying, "Oh, don't focus just on the leader. Show us more." Well, you're getting more right now. The leader, we can't keep him in the same camera frame as the rest of the field.
Yeah, unbelievable show being put on right now. 3.6 seconds, and lap after lap, Wick pushes the envelope, and Vasil matches it.
Yeah, you're right. The deficit is really just not growing, but it is definitely not shrinking either. 3.7 seconds. It's been 3.6 for the last 2 laps, and something big is going to happen. Something's going to have to change, I think, before you see that shrink at all. So we'll give you a quick Reese's run through the field. Daniel Vasil. Now I want chocolate and peanut butter. Daniel Vasil is the leader. Kyle Wick in second. Thought you'd use that as an opportunity to say I'll go get some. I'll be right back. Vasil, your leader. Wick in second. Gulick in third. Danny Formal fourth. Mateus Morgado fifth. Hunter Pickett and Remo Ricchetti sit 6th and 7th. Avancino 8th. Valiente 9th. Boer, the top 10. We're not done there, though. Ayrton Littell is 11th. Ramin Ryan 12th. Gagnon is 13th. Heck 14th. Concepcion 15th. And Cash Baxley complete the 16-cart running order of this PSLKarting.com ROK Shifter Pro Final 1 driver just pulled in and hit the scale line. You wonder if that's going to be Baxley after being at the tail end of this one. There goes your leader, and there's the second place card of Kyle Wick, 3.7 seconds from race leader back to P2. But the good news for Kyle Wick is he's visibly putting a gap between he and third place Jacob Gulick.
Yeah, and Gulick tipping the cap here. Turn around from the heat races, up here running in third and a strong third. Outpacing Formal, outpacing Morgado, outpacing Pickett. These are all folks that, I think Gulick was able to mix it up with really well throughout the week. But, Gulick's really stepped it up here in the finals.
Now the problem is if once you and I are done playing rock, paper, scissors to determine who will interview Daniel Vasil.
That's you.
Should he hold on? Well, let's not. Don't give up just yet.
Called it.
Let's see who ends up scoring the victory. But if it does end up being Daniel Vasil, what do you ask him? Hey, what were you thinking about? Take your finger off your nose? What were you thinking about? Were you looking at anything out there on the track?
Well, I don't want to talk about it yet. You've had a terrible job of cursing things this week on the mic, and I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want that devil here.
You're not kidding. I cursed myself when I took the under on 4.5 finals, being all you called this weekend or today, and you far exceeded that. What I want to know is, do you feel okay?
No. No, I don't.
People always ask if you're fine, and you just have to say yes. But deep down inside, you're really not.
I'm not okay.
Well, you're not okay, but you are ours. That's Chris Wheeler, high above the racetrack here at the Rock Vegas Championship and season finale. We are able to have a little bit of fun and joke here because Chris is a funny guy, but looks aren't everything, as we know. And also we're afforded that opportunity by the near 4-second margin of victory, or not victory, sorry, take that back. Lead from Vasil over Kyle Wick. Jacob Gulick is third, Danny Formal and Mateus Morgado.
We've got to turn our cameras over to panoramic mode just to be able to get them in the same shot right now.
Hey, don't use words you can't spell, Chris.
P-A-N-ramic.
I think you missed an O in there somewhere. So Daniel Vasil shows the way right now in PSLKarting.com. Rock Shifter Pro. Saw a great race in the Rock Shifter Masters category a little bit earlier this morning, and the schedule here at Rock Vegas, very complimentary, very nice. You ran your first 4 finals of the day, and those drivers had their podiums, and they're already done. They're on the private jet home, and we broke for lunch. What'd you have?
Taquitos, duh.
Taquitos.
No water.
Taquitos, duh. Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to wash them down with anything? Moving a little bit farther back, what's this the battle for? 5th, possibly?
4th and 5th. Mateus Morgado has gotten around Danny Formal.
Yeah, Mateus Morgado leads the way.
And here's Hunter Pickett as well.
Yeah, Hunter Pickett's now getting into the middle of this fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th on track. Unfortunately, no matter how hard they fight, whoever gets supremacy in this battle is still off the podium. That's the bummer there. But we broke for lunch after the first categories, which were VLR Masters, Rock Micro, Rock Shifter Masters, and VLR Junior. We broke after they ran their finals, had lunch, and then the categories that race this afternoon, which are Mini, Senior Pro, Shifter Pro, GP Junior, and VLR Senior, they ran their morning warm-ups, and now you see them out on track contesting their finals here at Rock Vegas. Mateus Morgado and Danny Formal continue to chase each other for 4th position.
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal, Chris.
You're going to handle the podium or the pit lane here, scale line for Shifter Pro and GP Junior, and I'm going to take VLR Senior.
I mean, what kind of deal is that? VLR Senior might just be a barn burner. Maybe I want to be down there in the scale. And
it sounds like you just chose all 3. Good job, Tony. Beautiful move here.
No, the only reason you wanted to do the interview for VLR Senior was so you could leave the grid.
Oh, chain guard just came off of, looked like it, no, would have been a chain guard. Something big and bulky and black just flew off of a go-kart.
Well, we'll check on that. We'll get the spotters around the track to take a look.
I want to say it was over in the 10, 11
Yeah,
area.
it was out of 11. No, I saw it bounce off too. I just wasn't sure what it was, so I didn't want to say anything crazy.
Nah.
That's fine. Yeah, no, the reason you want to do
Was it a camera?
No, I don't think so. The reason you want to do the VLR Senior interview is so that you can leave the booth and not come back.
No, I actually thought I was going to leave you in the booth so you could do the closing comments on the broadcast, since you've anchored it.
All right, that's fair.
I was honestly being thoughtful for you.
Oh, look at that. That's whatever came off the cart right there. Good pickup right there by our rooftop camera.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, we got a quick look at it. and we'll get another confirmation shot when we can.
The clock has struck 0. Don't know where the leader's at on the racetrack, but the lead has shrunk to 3.4 seconds.
Yeah, there he goes, Vasil down the back straight. You can see him flash for a second. So Vasil will be coming around here shortly to see the 2 to go signal, as Morgado and Formal have absolutely left Hunter Pickett behind. And there he goes, Daniel Vasil, your race leader in PSLKarting.com ROK Shifter Pro. Could almost push in the clutch at this point and probably be okay. Maybe in one more lap we can say that.
Yeah, hopefully we'd like to follow the leader here. Give him his credit. We haven't seen much of him today.
Yeah, what a good-looking machine, and it's been out in front so much that we've had a hard time keeping camera lenses on him, but now we've got him. Daniel Vasil takes the 495 out of turn number 9 and rockets away down the back straightaway. We catch up with him right there in the Masquerade Tower hairpin. He'll grab a few gears through 11 and out of 12. The white flag will wave here. 1 to go in PSL Karting ROK Shifter Pro.
Tony Laporta, earlier this morning, I had the opportunity, the privilege of running into Michael Valiente here after the warm-up, and I thought to myself, what could be a better thing for the Italkart brand? There's nothing that looks better than a proud Michael Valiente in that vest, those sunglasses. But you know what looks better?
What's that?
Daniel Vasil in the 495 Italkart, absolutely walking the dog here today at the Rio.
I raced in a Italkart as a kid in Tag Masters when I was 15. Yes, you heard that right, 15 years old. And all I wanted was one of those Italkart vests. They look so sharp, but they never made them big enough.
How about a salute to the crowd, your winner, by way of knockout here in Las Vegas, the 495 Italkart of Daniel Vasil. You want to handle this one, Tony?
Chris, I love when you put your announcer voice on. Those last 15 seconds of a final, you really care about it, and I love that about you.
You want to go?
I don't. Would you like to go?
I'd love to.
All right, that's Chris Wheeler. He just used up everything he had for that final 3-corner call. Vasil is your winner in PSLKarting.com. Kyle Wick ends up in 2nd, Gulick in 3rd, Morgado 4th, and Danny Formal rounds out your top 5. Hunter Pickett 6th, Remo Ricchetti 7th, Avancino ends up in 8th, Ethan Boer 9th, and Massimo Valiente the top 10. So this is strange for me. Chris Wheeler has elected to get up and move, and he'll head to the scale line to talk to Daniel Vasil. Vasil hit him with the turning around and looking for him. The margin of victory ended up being so strong. But when you have battling behind you and deadly consistent fast laps up in front, sometimes you'll have races go that way. PSLKarting.com brings you ROK Shifter Pro here at the ROK Vegas finale. We're waiting to hear that they're good to go down there in the scale line. Can't wait to hear what Chris Wheeler talks to Daniel Vasil about. Everybody makes their way into the scale line. And we're going to go to Chris Wheeler down at the scales.
Thank you, Tony Laporta. Here we are at the scale house as we wait for these ROK Pro shifter carts to cross on over. Hunter Pickett going to be the first one crossed here. Long week here at the Rio. Just going to wait, Tony. What a great race there. Talked a little bit to Greg Bell. Just tough week here for he and Danny Formal. They put their best foot forward. Just wasn't enough there. Formal going to get on the scales now. We're going to go this way, though, down the line to go find our winner. Let's see. Just watching it all kind of happen. Daniel Vasil, here we are. We're going to catch up to here in the scale line. What an absolute drive here on a Sunday. How much did all the scrapping behind you think helped play out in that one?
Well, for sure it helped a bit, but I think we had pace anyway to win the race. But yeah, this is the way it went. I'm happy. And firstly, I need to thank Michael Valiante for the drive and all the Italkart team.
So we made note all week long, the second half of the day, you guys were faster. Heat race 1, you were good. Heat race 2, much faster. Heat race 3, you were good. Heat race 4, much faster. Later in the day, that ITEL kart really came to life. What was it that really made it so good?
I think that the changes we made always were quite on point, and it helped us to improve for today.
Well, folks, that's Daniel Vasil, your ROK Shifter Pro race winner here at the Rio. Tony Laporta, back to you high above the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino.
Chris, turn around. I'm right behind you there on top of the Rio, and great job down there. There, Chris, do you see me? I see you.
I see you, Tony.
There we are. All right. It's
Hey,
great to
buddy.
have a coworker that is excited. Oh, man, Chris Wheeler back in the saddle again, calling kart racing. And what a beautiful shot down there on the scale line. I said it once, I'll say it again. Jason Lorea and his staff come all the way out from ROK Sonoma, and all of them do just an awesome job. This is fun to get to do a broadcast this quality and have people like that care about it the way that they do. So, ready to roll on with our next race, and that looks like it will be ROK GP Junior. ROK GP Junior will be up on track next. That category brought to you by our friends at the Rocket Racing Company, and they will roll out at 3:05 unless they bump them to go any earlier. So maybe we have some interviews we can kick to for those of you watching live here on Rock Cup USA YouTube. Stay with us. We're going to be back in just a few moments with live coverage of finals racing here at ROK Vegas. Continuing our walk through the pits here at ROK Vegas outside the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. I love saying that. Joel Lewis, and there's a lot to unpack here, even though there's actually not a lot to unpack. First of all, Joel, I caught you guys caught my eye walking around because this is your whole pit, right?
Yes.
This is everything.
Yep.
This is not the 18-wheeler with the 30 go-karts and a ton of drivers and a ton of... So tell me about your setup and your guys' team.
So we mainly, we have a lot, it's mainly my family, and my boyfriend is my mechanic.
Okay.
Everyone helps us. It's kind of hard with everyone else. They don't really want to help, but we really try our best with working with what we have. Yeah.
See, to me, this is what karting was supposed to be. Now, there's nothing wrong with the big trailers and the big teams. There's nothing wrong with that. Those operations work for some drivers and some people. But this is what go-karting is to me. It's a family. It's a young driver. It's one go-kart, one truck, and one trailer.
Yep.
Before we get into the similarities about where we're both from, you talk about doing this just your family and you also have a very cool list of donors over here. Tell me about what's right next to your pit right here.
So this is our list of donors. We had someone donate, Tony, he donated a bunch of honey boxes, and we raffled them away. So these are all the people who have bought tickets, who have put money into here, and we sold popcorn and popsicles and a bunch of stuff at the races so we can gain money so we can make it here today. So this is just a big thanks, and this is the reason why we're here.
Your family was telling me that this is like a bucket list. Like this was an event you really wanted to come be a part of. Why?
I thought it was really cool. We came down here last year and we saw kind of like the track, and they were racing here, and I was like, man, that'd be so much fun to race at. And then my brother was like, that'd be fun to just watch, and I was like, well, I want to race it.
Yeah.
And then my mom's like, well, we should try and do it. And I was like, really? And then eventually we started saving up, started saving money, and we made it. And I won a ticket. Yeah.
And so talk about all these donors and these people and you and your family making it here. Well, you made it here from a little place I know something about, the tiny town of Colorado. That's not a town, that's a state actually. Yeah, you're from Golden, Colorado,
I am,
right?
Yes.
So I don't even remember what it's called these days, but track at Centennial, you guys were talking about, you got your start racing out at Action Karting, which was a part of the Bandimere drag strip, but now that's going away. So where do you do most of your racing back home?
So I mainly go down to Centennial. That track just opened again. It's really fun. I would go up to a track called IMI. It's a little less fun. It's less technical. So I like to go to Centennial as much as possible.
Hey, IMI is where I got my start in driving. It's the
Yeah.
first place I ever announced at. So we'll have no IMI slander in this interview. But yeah, coming from Colorado, really good karting scene there for a super long time. You're out here VLR senior, right?
Yes.
So just, I don't know, how's it going? Practice is done. We're getting ready for qualifying. What do you think about competing at an event at this level?
It's definitely challenging. It's a lot more closer than Colorado. No, you can't make any mistakes here. Any mistakes here, you're gonna end up in the barriers. Anything you mess up, you're gonna end up kind of low back in the pack. So you got to really be focused on what you're doing, and you can't be in a different set of mindset. You got to be focused all on racing.
Well, she's right. When you're here in Vegas, you can't make a mistake because you're going to end up in the barriers. That's already happened to a few people on our crew, and they're not even racing here this weekend, if you know what I'm talking about. Joel, really cool to meet you. Really cool to kind of learn about it. I just think this is the coolest setup. This is what I wish we saw more of at this high level of karting, and it's awesome to have somebody from Colorado out here representing. So best of luck this week, and hopefully we're talking to you more. And just thanks for the time.
Thank you.
It's Joel Lewis. Welcome back, folks, to live coverage here on Rock Cup USA YouTube. I already said it. It's YouTube, my tube. Today it's our tube. Chris Wheeler, Tony Laporta with you back in the Sky Suite above the racetrack here at Rock Vegas. The Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino has been our home for what feels like quite a while now. But it's home sweet home when you've got tantalizing and delicious racing action such as the on-track product we have here at Rock Cup USA, Chris.
It's also home, sweet home, at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino.
I hate you so much, and I want to know why you had tape on your mouth a moment ago.
Because my snoring wakes me up, and I've been Googling mouth tape, and I was just curious what it felt like.
Okay, I was like, you're not sleeping currently.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And I won't be able to, because this Rock GP Junior final is going to keep me on the edge of my seat.
You're darn tootin' about that. Rocket Racing Company is the sponsor of our penultimate final of the day. Let's look at the starters in this one. Diego Ardiles and Turner Brown will share the front row for this Rock GP Junior main event. Naomi Garcia starts third with Alexander Vanchev in fourth. Sarah Bradley recently named the winner of the Rock Cup USA F4 US Radford Racing School Scholarship. Bradley will roll from fifth, Dean Peterson in sixth. Javier Chaparro and Nathan Dupuy start seventh and eighth. Edward Kennedy and Jose Alejandro Halfin complete the top 10. Then it's Declan Dionarine, Geronimo Corral, Ricardo Saruth, Jackson Elefante, Mateus Gonzalez, and Cole Anderson. Rocket Racing Company is the sponsor for the Rock GP Junior Final. They make their way into the tram lane side by side. Ardiles down low, Turner Brown up top, lights are out, and we go racing. Boy, Ardiles clear by a mile down on the inside as he takes them through turns 2 and 3.
Yeah, Ardiles with the good
no!
Contact on the back of the pack. That was some solid contact. That's a 2-0-1.
And the 229. Oh my gosh, was that Vanchev?
That's Vanchev.
Vanchev got hung out slow off the lights on the outside lane, and he clips the barriers over on the exit of turn number 3.
He won Junior VRL earlier, and now he's out of this one on lap 1.
Man, just as the wheel turns here at Rock Cup USA, and trying to remember the car, I think that might have been Dean Peterson, perhaps, the other driver involved in that one. Up front, here we go, a battle for the lead. Down into turn number 1, it's the 219 and Naomi Garcia taking the top spot away from Diego Ardiles.
That is quite a group here. 5-cart breakout early. Garcia, Ardiles, Bradley, Chaparro, and Turner Brown. A little bit of a gap back, about 1.5 seconds to Jose Alejandro Halfin. He's got a 3/10 advantage over Geronimo Coral. Here comes the move. I believe that's Brown on Chaparro. Yes, correct, as they head off into turn number 10 into the deep shadows. The Masquerade Tower hairpin.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Tony, I'm doing what I can here.
Killing
Long way to go, though. 16 minutes on the clock. Top 2 got a little bit of a gap now, about a 2-car length advantage. Position number 3, which is Sarah Bradley. Bradley, like we talked about, received a scholarship earlier for the F4 Radford Racing School. Very cool to see that. But right now, it's the Speed Concepts 1, 2, 3. Naomi Garcia, Diego Ardiles, and Sarah Bradley out front.
Just working on getting our live timing and scoring back up here and running for you, and that's exactly what we've got now. I can tell you that Naomi Garcia goes purple the last time by as the race leader, 45.714, but everybody behind until Vanchev and Dionarine in 50. Oh, it was Dionarine, not, I incorrectly called out the 229 of Peterson. It was the 224 of Dionarine that was in the accident with Vanchev, so correction there. Sorry about that. Turner Brown now, the quickest kart on track, 44.957. The Cosmic Kart driver is 4th on the track, and at the tail end of this lead pack of Speed Concept drivers, Turner Brown's been deadly consistent and just present through both categories, VLR Junior and now Rock GP Junior. Turner Brown stood on the podium in VLR Junior. Can he stand on the podium twice in one day? And where can he stand? We wait to find that out and more as the leaders come through turn number 10. They'll exit the hairpin and make the run across the start-finish line. 4 laps complete, this time by Garcia, Ardiles, and Bradley out in front.
1, 2, 3, continuing to show the way rather. But Turner Brown and Javier Chaparro trying everything they can to stay in touch. Sarah Bradley, though, purple last time, 44.762. So it's trying to set the pace early. Is Sarah Bradley running in that third position. Tony, I'm excited, man, for what the last probably 4 or 5 laps of this race have.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if they stay close like they are right now. And as the race wears on, tires lose grip, the track changes. They're just going to get closer, realistically, because Naomi Garcia is doing a really good job out in front, but Diego Ardiles and Sarah Bradley are going to stay right there in the tire tracks of the leaders, Levantos. Ardiles popped out for a second to try and make something happen, but they all stay in line. They bide. They sit there. They wait. And, again, we've covered it a couple times. Really no team orders. Very rarely are there anything like team orders in karting. I think the only rule typically, and you know Mike Speed so well, and Alex, it's probably just going to come down to don't wreck each other.
Yeah.
Don't wreck each other while you're racing for position, and definitely don't wreck each other while you're racing for the win.
No, and as we look here, top 5 is pretty well pulled away now over, almost 2 seconds now over Jose Alejandro Halpin, who runs in that 6th position. You can see them all right there, your top 5, but it's more like a race of 3 as long as these drivers don't start getting a little argy-bargy, if you know what I mean.
Big Calvin Fish guy, huh?
Not at all.
2 weeks in a row I've called races, and you this weekend, Matt Yoakum, last weekend, dropping an argy-bargy or 2 into the broadcast. You and Matt Yoakum, I mean, that's how I know I've made it when I'm working with quality guys. Matt was incredible to work with back in Martinsville, and it was awesome. This is not our first time working together. Got to do this.
I thought you were going to say this is not awesome.
No, this is awesome. No, this is awesome. It's just not our first time. Turner Brown, once again, quickest kart on the track. The driver, the 236, goes purple, thanks to a time of 44.525. But he hasn't really reeled in Sarah Bradley, Diego Ardiles, or Naomi Garcia, and that's because those 3 teammates are working very well together, driving very fast, making sure they get through each lap cleanly, and that's what's kept them out in front of Turner Brown and Javier Chaparro here, the sharp end of this top 5.
Yeah, I mean, they've got just a big enough gap between them, about enough for 1 full kart length, where they can still push as hard as they can and not jeopardize their entry or exit speeds with the traffic around them. Therefore, they're able to keep their momentum and build, as we call, energy in their group.
That's the thing, is we talked about it, I think, with the battle between Frankie Mossman and Blake Nash. I was just amazed, and I'm still amazed at how hard those 2 were able to push and get faster and faster and just be so close to each other on track physically, but also on the stopwatch. They were deadly close when it came to lap times, and they did it less than feet, inches away from each other at time on corner entry and corner exit. And so this is a little bit different. Each one of these 3 drivers, they have a pretty healthy, like you said, about a kart length gap from first back to second. Well, it was a kart length gap from second back to third, but now Sarah Bradley has gotten much closer to Diego Ardiles. At least she was on corner entry to turn number 10. But yeah, you nailed it perfectly, Chris. Each one of these top 3, they have enough room to just drive hard, get really deep into the corner, use up their brakes, and not worry about the kart in front of them having a problem and stumbling and catching them out.
Yep, but meanwhile, Turner Brown continuing just to slowly chip away at this here. 44.59, 44.60, 44.57, 44.53 were your times last time for your top 4 in that order. Let's get to that point of the race, Tony, where now just under 10 minutes remain. Means just over, 6 minutes have expired, 6-7 minutes or so.
Right.
7 minutes and 20 seconds into this thing. And you got to think the tires are in at this point.
They have to be.
And we're going to start seeing who's got what, as now in the last 2 laps, Diego Ardiles runs his personal best, 44.546. Starts to close that gap just a little bit, and the rear end of that 219 machine of Garcia starts to just get a little bit wider on exit.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Garcia's running a little bit wider to keep Ardiles at bay, and that's the true, I think, measure of good defensive driving, is how much can you get your kart wide on exit. Anybody can hang down to the inside on corner entry, and you know what it's going to do to you when you get out of the corner. but it's really all about maximizing exit speed, exit shot as you call it, and making sure you make that upcoming straightaway as long as possible, and you're making as much speed and as much power as you can every trip down the straightaway. Garcia's doing a good job of that, I think, right
This
now.
is absolute insanity when you look at the lap times. Your leader, Garcia, 44.55. Ardiles, 44.54. Bradley, 44.54. Brown, 44.58. Just lap after lap, these drivers are just making pure magic.
Pure magic. Penn and Teller inside the Rio All Suites Hotel. That's pure magic. That's all I'll tell you about that. Naomi Garcia shows the way here as we near the halfway point of this one. And Rocket Racing Company, GP Junior, is our penultimate, that's second to last final of the day. And Garcia can hear us talking, goes 44.471. The young driver of the 219, now the quickest kart on track, and that opens the lead back to Ardiles up a little, but it helps Ardiles' case that Ardiles just went his personal best lap of the race, a 44.535. But Garcia out in front, not only on the track, but on the timing charts. 44.471 for the race leader. And here they come out of turn number 9 down the back straightaway. Nobody close enough, not yet, to make a move. Turner Brown also has just silently been sitting there. I mean, not silently, but as far as this race for the lead goes, Brown's just done a very good job at staying in contention, staying right there up close, and being ready for a battle later on in this race. But Ardiles is just giving Garcia here what for, and Ardiles looks so primed to make a move here. They'll roll through the infield, and as they head to turn number 8, this is a great passing complex as the track bends right back to the right. But Ardiles not close enough, not yet. They'll unwind the wheel and come back towards the Masquerade Tower hairpin.
And what, Tony?
And just continue to be great.
There it is. Your top two starting to gap out just a little bit now over Sarah Bradley as Diego Ardiles pushing on the 219 and Naomi Garcia. Brown just kind of hanging out in fourth. Not a lot changing as far as their distances between them. But I don't think this one's over. Wow, Garcia getting really wide, and here comes Ardiles now into the left-handers at 4 and 5. New leader, how about it? The 297, Diego Ardiles, as Garcia just using up a lot of space on exit. Out there, you're not really going anywhere. You're just making noise.
Naomi Garcia, the young lady who's been leading this race for the vast majority of it. I think Ardiles led around the line to end lap number 1, but then it was right there on the entry to turn number 1 at the start of lap number 2 is when I think I remember seeing Garcia take over the top spot, and now she will run second again for only the second time this race because Diego Ardiles has reclaimed the top spot, and Garcia does a phenomenal job at staying tight to Diego Ardiles as we're nearly inside of 5 minutes to go here, and the front four get just a little bit closer together.
Yeah, that last lap with the pass for the lead, what that did is it checked up the momentum and allowed Turner Brown to get a little bit closer. Was able to take 0.3 of a second out of that gap. Now top four all within 0.8.
They sure are, Chris, as that awkward silence was brought to you by our local library and a sip of water. Boy, look at Garcia. Hot on the heels of Ardiles. And everybody just feeling each other out here, I think, wondering, okay, when it gets down to it, when I'm ready, when I have that opportunity, where am I best suited to make a pass?
Yeah, and I think they're just kind of trying to figure out, I'm not sure Bradley and Turner Brown necessarily have the speed to outright lead this thing. Obviously, they've done a good job hanging out third and fourth and staying in touch with your top two. Ardiles and Garcia definitely, I think, have the outright speed. And I could be wrong. Bradley and Brown could just be saving some stuff here for the end.
I was going to say.
Just waiting for the magic. Now, by no means was I going to say they're out of this thing. But nobody's really popped out to really go for it other than that one move by Diego Ardiles.
No, but Sarah Bradley and Turner Brown just laid down really good laps.
Yeah.
Brown just laid down his best lap of the race, a 44.515. And now the back two in this four-car train are right there. They have caught up to Diego Ardiles and Naomi Garcia. This is very close racing. When does Garcia try to make the next move and challenge for the lead for a second time here. She got the pass on the start of lap number 2 down on the inside. Wow, look at the look that Ardiles goes and gives to the rest of the field. He was counting how many karts were behind him and how many seconds back they were. He looked for quite a while.
Yeah, he was eyeing up the competition, you could say. But you're not wrong. Garcia gets such a good run off turn number 12 every single lap.
Chris, I'll never forget the first time I eyed up you when I presumed you were my competition. You were at the Supernats.
Wasn't that a food eating contest?
I've never met a challenger in a food eating competition that I was afraid of. So I definitely don't think it was a food eating contest because I don't know. I'd look at you as a good adversary in that kind of game. But getting a message passed here from Race Control. FYI, once we have everyone confirmed on the grid, we are sending VLR Senior early.
I love that.
Anyway, what we were getting into was, Chris, the first time I was really kind of exposed to you was you were helping out with the broadcast of the Super Nationals, and I saw a photo of you. Diego Ardiles goes purple, and now Naomi Garcia starts to turn up the wick, and look how much they've pulled away from Brown and Bradley.
Well, what you missed there is Turner Brown got around Sarah Bradley that lap.
Yeah, he did. So we'll keep our eyes glued on the front here as the leaders still have plenty of time here to make this an even closer race, 2.5 minutes. And as Turner Brown has disposed of Sarah Bradley, what can Brown do for you? And what can Brown do in the race for the lead? Turner Brown has been very, very fast this entire weekend, especially in this final. Turner Brown may be getting ready to throw his ring into the hat for the victory here in RRC ROK GP Junior.
Yeah, it was all speed concepts 1, 2, 3 there for the most part of that race. First 14 and a half or so minutes, but now it's starting to take a little bit of a change because Turner Brown just ran his fastest lap of the race. By the way, it was 0.3 of a second faster than her leader, Diego Ardiles.
Yeah, I think this is why Turner Brown it has just been very quietly consistent and right there, even though it sometimes looks like he hasn't been right there. The timing charts tell a different story, and Naomi Garcia and Diego Ardiles, simply put, are going to race each other, right, because that's what they're here to do.
Yeah.
But they are about one exchange of the lead away if they don't do it perfectly, like we saw in VLR Masters, for example. Yeah. Ardiles and Garcia are one exchange for the lead away from inviting Turner Brown into the party. And if Turner Brown can get there, so can Sarah Bradley.
Well, I can tell you what, Ardiles and Garcia working together absolutely perfectly here. That last lap, they were able to put another 1/10 of a second, about a 1/2 tenth, I should say, on that gap to third, which is Turner Brown. Sarah Bradley just trying to hold on here in that 4th spot. Javier Chaparro, 4.5 seconds behind your leader. That's 5th. Jose Alejandro Halfin, Nathan Dupuy, Edward Kennedy, Ricardo Saruth, and Dean Peterson, your top 10, as the clock is now at 45 seconds.
Yeah, they're probably going to get there just in time to see the 2 to go when they get back. Turner Brown goes purple. Quickest car on the track, 44.375. And I dare say he's picked the right time to really pour on the speed here as he chases down the speed concept entries. Look at Turner Brown on entry through 4 and 5. He has caught Naomi Garcia and Diego Ardiles. This will become a battle for the race lead as they'll come to see the 2 to go. And when they get back to the white, Chris, it'll become the battle for the win.
It will, and in fact, I think that battle's not going to wait that long, though. I don't think Turner Brown wants to start the last lap in third. He's going to do what he can to try and break up this little speed concept tandem in front of him. He sat most of the race behind a 3-way battle. Now he's sitting lonesome here in third as he's no help out the back from Sarah Bradley. 2 to go, and here comes the contact in turn number 1.
Ardiles getting defensive on corner entry. Turner Brown's going to get forced way down to the inside. It'll work out for Brown. Shoehorns into second. Naomi Garcia, Diego Ardiles. That tandem has been broken up. Garcia back to third now behind Brown.
Yeah, and Bradley right back into this thing now. Ardiles out front, but I hate to say it's kind of like a plate race. Is he too far out front?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as being a sitting duck, you mean?
Yeah.
Possibly. But either way, he's going to defend on corner entry.
Because he has the gap, what he's going to do here, and he did it right there in 10, he runs the defensive line.
And that really kills him.
Kills the momentum, and everybody behind him can run a normal line, keep up the momentum.
Oh, wow.
What
look at
a
that.
big checkup into turn number 1, and now it's a 4-way race for this one.
White flag is out in the Rocket Racing Company ROK GP Junior Final. And it might
Around
be
the outside.
Yeah, it might be the outside groove coming in here late in the final, our penultimate race of the weekend. Art Delis has the whole pack stacked up right behind him. Turner Brown's got 3 more really good passing opportunities. There's one in 8. Here comes another one into turn number 9. Art Delis runs low. What's that going to do to his exit speed? They'll head for the turn 10 hairpin.
Final time through turn number 10, 2 wide. Outside looking, trying to make it happen. Nothing there. Turner Brown going to push Diego Ardiles through 11 and now 12 to the start-finish line. It's a drag race.
Ardiles comes down low to see the checkers first in Rocket Racing Company, ROK GP Junior. Turner Brown and Sarah Bradley provisionally will stand on your podium with Garcia and Chaparro, the top 5.
And how about it for Javier Chaparro on the 287? Pushed hard those last couple laps when they started to race hard. Got right to the back bumper here of Naomi Garcia to make it a race. Just a little too late of a charge there for the 287. But the 297, Diego Ardiles, the provisional winner here in ROK GP Junior final action. A hard-fought 25 laps. Again, a quick reminder, VLR Senior, get to the grid. We're going to go when we're ready here. VLR Senior, once you're set on grid, we're going to go. We're going to try and get this thing concluded a little bit early. That's the goal. As our Tony Laporta heads down to the scales to find Diego Ardiles, the Speed Concepts 297 machine, victorious here on track. The ROK GP Junior final. And Tony Laporta, we know you're down there. So as you enjoy the beautiful views after that quick ride down the fire escape, take us away, Tony Laporta.
Thanks very much, Chris. We're down here in the scale line for the Rocket Racing Company ROK GP Junior final. And Diego Ardiles set to roll across the scales. There he is. And he is your winner in ROK GP Junior. Diego will come around after helping put the card up on the stand. How about that? Diego, man, what a race there. When things are getting crazy behind you, what can you do to just continue to drive your race? Is it stressful? What are you thinking about when you know the competition's right behind you?
Yeah, I know. I think I'm a little bit used to it because every heat, all the times were pretty much the same. I knew it was going to be like very hard race because everyone's doing nearly the same time. So I just tried to stay behind Naomi like pretty much the whole race. Then I went for the overtake and just tried to stay in the front.
Cooler temperatures, the sun's starting to set, the wind's been strong all day. How's this track changed from your perspective throughout the weekend?
Yeah, I think each time, each session, the track it keeps getting better, but it's hard with the engine temperatures.
Good job. Congratulations. Great driving. Anybody you really need to thank or talk about after that strong victory here at ROK Vegas?
Yeah, I want to thank God, my team, my family, Adam, Alex, Mike, my other mechanic, and yeah, everyone that supports me.
That's Diego Ardiles, your winner of ROK GP Junior, brought to you by Rocket Racing Company. Diego, great job, and we are ready to go with our last race of the weekend. VLR on the grid, ready to go. That's VLR Senior coming up next.
All right, everybody, and just like that, we were down to 1. As you see it on your screen at home, it'll be the Nash Motorsports ROK VLR Senior Final. You see them on the grid a little ahead of schedule thanks to the efficiency of not only the competitors, but the entire ROK staff. One more final coming your way here. The distance, 13 minutes and 2 laps. The grid size, 40 go-karts, 40 drivers. Tony Tony Laporta joins us back here in the booth after scaling 20-plus stories high. How you feeling, big guy?
I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling grateful to be a part of an event like this and work here with you. That's how I'm feeling. Nash Motorsports brings you your final race of the weekend. This is ROK VLR Senior. Diego Ramos and Jose Carlos Hernandez are the front row. Frankie Mossman starts third with Josh Campbell in the 4th position. Keegan Kaminsky starts 5th with Parker DeLong in 6th, Oliver Calvo in 7th, Alan Eisenbard in 8th. Steven Eisert starts 9th with Stephen Miller on the outside of row number 5 and 10th. Chris Martin is 11th, Nico Serafati 12th, Kieran Rogers 13th, Christian Carrillo 14th with Ethan Williams in 15th. 16th is Rodrigo Gonzalez. Nix Eggleston will roll from 17th with Camden Rumanis, Bernal Valverde, and Felipe Aguiar, rounding out the top 20 in Nash Motorsports VLR Senior.
To the tram lanes we go here, Tony Laporta, for the final time here at ROK Vegas 2024.
Chris, it's been fun, it's been real, and it's about to get
really fun.
Well, it will in a lap.
False start here on this NFL Sunday in Vegas.
These racers, they love to just build that tension and then leave us hanging on an edge. We're going to go around one more time before we go racing here.
So, obviously, we've got a lot of talent at the sharp end of this thing. You know where my eyes are? My eyes are going to be?
Where are they going to be, Chris?
They're going to be in the 13th row. Jesus Vasquez Jr. and Chase Hand were the fastest 2 drivers in this class all week. They did a fantastic job. And both of them in their final heat race met the demise.
Big accident out of turn 2, sorry.
Separately, though.
Yes.
And put back here when it was all said and done. And, man, it's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun to watch. Diego Ramos has been absolutely on kill. Jose Carlos Hernandez on kill. So we're going to see what happens here. I'm looking forward to it. Are you?
I've been looking forward to it ever since we touched down here in Vegas back on Wednesday. One more time, folks, thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday in Las Vegas. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior is lights out, and we're racing down into turn number 1. Diego Ramos looks to have gotten the whole shot as the field flies out of 2 and into turn number 3, and they are stacked deep. We're selling them cheap here at ROK Vegas.
Speaking of stacked, oh no.
Couple carts together in between turns 3 and the entry to turn number 4. And when you have that many go-karts, what was the starting field
40.
size? 40 carts here at Nash Motorsports VLR Senior. How about that for a cinematic-looking shot?
I think they call it golden hour, Tony Laporta.
I think they do, and the time here in Vegas has been golden. Diego Ramos is trying to pick up the gold medal, the top step, the winner's trophy here in VLR Senior. He's got a ways to go with a 13-minute plus 2-lap feature. There's lots of work to be done and lots of racing to be seen. Frankie Mossman heads towards turn number 3. There's still yellow flags waving where that incident took place back on the opening lap, but the leaders make it through. Mossman's got Hernandez right behind. I think Hernandez might have just stepped on through to second, put Mossman now back to third.
So Ramos, Hernandez now, then Mossman. But let's look for the hard charges here on lap 1. Rodrigo Gonzalez up 6 all the way to P number 10. Felipe Aguilar up 7 spots. We're going to keep looking down. Jesus Vasquez Jr. up to 19th already, plus 6. We'll try and see who was caught up in that first lap. I think that was Oliver Calvo was in that, Kieran Rogers, and Olivier Marac. Maybe even Valen Vankatesh.
Man, this is crazy how early Diego Ramos is having to chop off his entry into the corners. Look at this, all the way down on the bottom into corner entry, and we're working lap number 3 of this race. That is how aware Diego Ramos is that Josh Campbell and Frankie Mossman and the rest of the leaders are to being able to race with him. Oh, one around facing the wrong direction for the second time.
Is that Kaminsky?
In 2 races. The 930?
Nope, Nico Serfati.
That's a terrifying position to be in.
Yeah.
Everybody able to take evasive maneuvers and make their way around, but still tense moments for sure. The 926 of Josh Campbell is in the second position. Hernandez dropped all the way down to 8th. Did not see the issue, but Hernandez was up towards the front of this one.
So what this is doing, this crazy racing and the defensive driving already around the white line, anybody can really get to the front here.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is, I mean, they're just staying completely packed up, and we're looking. That lap, Jesus Vasquez Jr. all the way to 13th already. More importantly, 0.8 of a second faster than the leaders. Because they're up here racing so hard, he's got a little bit of clean air and able to try and run them down.
Well, I think, Chris, just to say it a different way, to your point about running that white line and being defensive like Ramos and Campbell and Mossman are doing, it slows them down so much that it's not a 3 or 4 cart pack for
it's
the lead.
An everybody pack.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that, a little bumping and grinding on a Sunday evening here in Las Vegas. Ramos has got some gunners behind him. Keegan Kaminsky and Josh Campbell, pod to pod, going through turn number 3.
Yeah, the outside in, the inside out, running one line around the bottom, one line around the top. It is absolute chaos here. We still have another 9.5 plus 2 laps.
How about Chris Martin in the 900? We have not called his number very often in this race. He is in the 5th position. Chris, he went lights out outside the top 10 in 11th.
Yeah, P12 right now, parked it along in the 999 purple, 46.2. Your leader, 47.7.
This race is like a 1980s music workout video. It's getting physical out there on track right now.
Absolutely. Look at this line. Rocking the New Garden Snake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's super cool.
Down the front straightaway, trying to break the draft and keep anybody off your tail that you can.
Ramos going to open it up a little bit there, work on his exit shot. Meanwhile, they're 3 wide behind him.
Chris Martin goes from 5th to 4th, now to 3rd. I don't know if we've talked about him once through the heat races, and he says that's all right. You don't have to. I'm going to make you talk about me here in the final. Nash Motorsports ROK VLR Senior showing up and showing out.
Contact.
Oh, big contact back in turn number 9. One driver
Even
does a 360.
bigger contact now right here in the corner at 9.
Oh, boy, is this the big one that we've worried about for so long?
Carts on carts on carts. Let's see who is going to make it through to start finish here. I see a 919 in there somewhere.
That's the 980 as
well.
well.
That's Aguilar. Yeah. 80 was Romanis. Jesus Vasquez Jr. does not get caught up. He's all the way to 7th now. Ramos, Campbell, Martin, Kaminsky, Jose Carlos Hernandez, Frankie Mossman, Jesus Vasquez Jr., Stephen Miller, Cirillo, Gonzalez now your top 10.
I just really...
Eisenbard lost 7 on that one.
I'm just really impressed by Chris Martin here, the driver in that 900. It looks like, the Sodi suit for the Sodi kart driver up to 3rd here. And Diego Ramos knows who he's got behind him. And we didn't see Ramos super active in the first pair of heat races, but when we got to heat races yesterday, rounds 3 and 4, or the pre-final really, for this category, Ramos was there. And they've been working on getting speed in that Burrell all weekend long.
I caught it wrong. Vasquez now dropping. Must have had issues on that lap as Vasquez seems to be.
Oh, maybe a challenge for second. No. Martin stays in line.
Yeah, the 909 done here. So that's going to move up Stephen Miller to 7th, Cirillo to 8th, Rodriguez to 9th, Parker DeLong hanging out in the 10th spot.
Chris, you know, sometimes when people ask you, or when people tell you last night was a movie, when they've had a great night, I think that's what they're going to say about this feature on track right now. Not only does the sunlight make it feel like we're shooting a movie out here right now, it looks so good. The racing is hot, heavy, and I bet it'll be memorable when we wrap it up here at the end of these next 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps. They're going to say that final was like a movie. That's what Josh Campbell wants to say as he pushes his way through in corner number 3. He goes to the race lead. Ramos had a chance to make something happen there back in 4, but does not. He'll stay in 2nd.
Yeah, Kaminsky's now in the 3rd spot. Chris Martin in 4th. Jose Carlos Hernandez still 5th. Mossman 6th. Miller 7th. Cirillo DeLong and Rodrigo Gonzalez rounds out your top 10. There's a reason, Tony Laporta, this class was scheduled to go last, as we see another move.
That's Kaminsky around Ramos for the second position.
Meanwhile, Josh Campbell's like, keep fighting, boys. Keep doing whatever you want to do. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Okay, so this is the first time all race Diego Ramos has not led. So does the pace of this race change? No, it does not, as Josh Campbell cuts the corner entry nice and tight out of turn number 2 and into turn number 3. Campbell knows the reason Ramos was doing it is because everybody behind him is a dog. Campbell, a dog. Keegan Kaminsky, dog. Diego Ramos, dog. You got to keep him chained up behind you.
Well, Mossman just, I believe, got by Jose Carlos Hernandez. Really trying to get a good picture of it here. I won't really know until we get to the stripe. Or maybe he made the effort.
Yeah, I think Martin may have fallen back here to the tail of this lead pack. Yeah, the Sodi cart should be 5th, I think, at the line. 6th, actually. Check that.
Okay, yeah, so it was Jose Carlos Hernandez and Mossman moving forward on that one.
This is crazy, just how defensive they are this whole race. I mean, it's set on kill the entire time. Get in where you fit in, and I understand it, but it's just wild to see defensive racing so early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they all knew how tightly packed this class was, right? I mean, A versus A, B, C, and D heat races. Everybody's seen each other at least once. Then they had the pre-final yesterday, which was a no-holds-bar cage match. And I think with the extended time, they knew that this one was going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, wow, look at all those analogies and turns of phrase you just had right there. But they all fit, they're all accurate, because the racing here at ROK Vegas is just so good. Are you fast in a go-kart, or do you think you are? Come to ROK Cup USA and find out for sure.
Yeah, Mossman made the move that lap on the 910 of Jose Carlos Hernandez. Put him in the 4th spot now to the back bumper of Diego Ramos. And for the first time, I think, in the entirety of this race, Kaminsky, who leads this thing over Campbell, those two are just kind of settling in and starting to slowly build a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, exactly. This for about the last lap and a half, maybe just the last lap, we've seen a little bit of what I want to say, not calm, but I don't know, just more traditional style. Follow the leader here on track in the Nash Motorsports VLR senior category, because you're right, there's a little bit more breathing room. Kaminsky does not hear 3, 4, 5 motors stacked up right behind him. He can run his own line.
Yeah, exactly. No,
thanks.
Jose
Thanks.
Carlos Hernandez got background Mossman there. They give him the old, hey buddy, let's play together. Let's make friends. But I think what this is, Tony, is just the calm before the storm. This one's far from over. If you look at the top 10, Kaminsky, Campbell, Ramos, Carlos Hernandez, Mossman, Martin, Miller, Cirillo, DeLong, and Chase Hand has entered the top 10 conversation.
He's entered the chat.
However, it's a 5-second gap from your leader to 10th.
I know you said you were calling out the row those two are coming from.
Row 13.
Wow, yeah, Jesus Vasquez Jr. and Chase Hand. Joey uploaded a phone recording of the onboard of Chase's wreck. Did you see it? Yeah. He went around coming out of this corner right here, turn number 2.
Yep. He got hit in turn number 2. Mossman making a move into turn number 3.
That's Mossman around Jose Carlos Hernandez. Move Mossman up one more spot. Hernandez tries to battle back down on entry into turns 4 and 5, but Mossman's going to hold it, and Hernandez needs to be wary now of Chris Martin and Steven Miller, the winner of the senior ROK GP race we saw a little while ago that ended in fireworks, you could say.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Meanwhile, still more fighting back here for that 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, I would say. Starting to get real pushy.
Can you believe people are getting to watch this for free right now?
Yeah, it's incredible. Best value in sports.
In this economy, you just can't beat it. In this economy, in election season, you just can't beat it.
Meanwhile, minute 40 to go here on the clock. At minute 50. Try and get our clocks to sync here just a little bit. We just know there's over a minute left.
Yeah, and what else we know is that this racing has been great all the way up to this point. But I agree with you. I think this is still just a little bit of the calm before the storm. And when they get down to the marrow in this one, to the very end, it's going to pick up the pace a little bit.
There's only one driver who's happy with what's going on right now, and that's Keegan Kaminsky. The only one that doesn't want to see anything change. Everybody else sitting there kind of licking their chops, trying to set it up and trying to figure out when to make the move.
And I heard someone once describe racing, Chris, as he said he's an older father in the sport, and he's gone on to have a very successful career as a tuner. Rick Schmidt was once interviewed, and he said, we shouldn't call it racing, what we're doing out here, we should call it sorting. And you sort out and you find out who's better at leading. You sort who's better at passing. You sort out who's better at qualifying and who's better at setting the cart up. And of course, it's just a different way of saying racing is a big learning session, right? You find out all these things about these kids, these adults, these tuners, these engine builders. But it's so much fun to watch a race develop like this and see who's good at what parts in the event.
Yep. As we keep an eye here, Chase Hand now to P number 8. He went purple just a couple laps ago at a 46.103. That last one a 46.6, but he was also passing 2 carts.
The big question is now, can the iPad with timing and scoring that just gave us the 5% battery
Is it going to last?
Can it make it these last 2.5 laps? If we start running out of names and we don't know who's on track.
Don't blame me, folks. It's Tony Laporta's iPad.
Yeah, but it's Jason Larrea's charging cord. I didn't want to steal from him again.
Well, so much for having all the support. Meanwhile, the race up front continues to kind of spread out a little bit. Kaminsky, Campbell, half second over Ramos and Mossman.
We're getting down to the end of it here, folks. Closing time gets ready to play on the jukebox as we're into the last 2 laps of racing in the Nash Motorsports VLR Senior category and 2 laps left in Rock Vegas 2024.
Chris Martin turning it up, 46.033. He goes purple from the P7 spot.
So now, Josh Campbell has his fate in his hands. What can he do? Where can he make up time? And how can he put pressure on race leader Keegan Kaminsky? Because, Chris, it sounds like it, but it's not just as simple as, well, just drive in a little bit deeper, brake a little bit later, and you'll catch him. It's not that simple.
No.
You really walk a tightrope between what you do on corner entry and then what you can have on corner exit.
So here we go.
Look at this. A little bobbing and weaving between Ramos and Mossman. Give Ramos the 3rd spot. They're trying to find out who will stand on the podium here on the last race at Rock Vegas.
To my surprise, final lap of the event here as we head off to 4 and 5. Running the normal line. There's a cart gap advantage here for Kaminsky over Campbell. Is Campbell going to send it in?
That's his only chance, right? But talk about a dream scenario for the top 2. No pressure from behind. I mean, if they wad it up, then they'll lose positions. But Keegan Kaminsky and Josh Campbell can go at it here for one last trip through the Masquerade Tower hairpin, through 10 and out of the final corners. Nobody's going to be close enough to make a move. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior wins with a victory for Keegan Kaminsky on the 941.
A beautiful drive for Keegan Kaminsky. Congratulations to that driver in the 941. My goodness. So, Tony Laporta, I'm going to head out and head to the scales and look for the 941 of Keegan Kaminsky.
Well, we know we won't see you after that interview, Chris, and so it's been a pleasure and really an honor for the Chris Wheeler to be back here in the booth with us. Shades of Rotax and Max Speed 2015. It's been a lot of fun working with you, Chris. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior is done, and so are we here at Rock Vegas. But we're going to hear from our winner, Keegan Kaminsky. Chris Wheeler is heading down to the scale line. He'll parachute off the Sky Suite here. And there he goes. I think you can see him. Chris, wave as you... Oh, he's already glided out of the frame, unfortunately. What a weekend with Rock Vegas here in 2024. If you've been watching live for a little or for a lot, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of it. As Chris makes his way to the scale line, carts will come to an idle, and we're getting ready to hear from our winner in Nash Motorsports VLR Senior, Keegan Kaminsky.
And Tony Laporta, beautiful views down here as this group sits at the scale line, waiting for the green light and the cone to move. Keegan Kaminsky, the 941 GFC machine, sitting here patiently, waiting to be able to roll across the scales. Congratulations all around for this driver. Put together a solid week through the heat races and pre-final, but put it all together when it mattered here today. The main event, ROK Vegas 2024. So we sit patiently, kick back, relax, and enjoy the views. So we're just going to cut to the chase here. Mr. Kaminsky, congratulations. What a week, but what a drive here in the final.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, it was a really crazy race. Kind of how I expected it. Going to be pretty much a block fest for the entire race, but was able to get through and push hard and get some clean laps and put some consistent lap times down. That was all I needed.
This GFC Formula Kartworks machine, definitely fast. What do you think the keys were, though, in those closing laps to be able to build out a little bit of a gap?
Be consistent with no mistakes. GFC and Formula Works gave me a great car to deal with today. Now it was just my job to do everything I needed to do for this main event.
Truer words never been spoken, Tony Laporta. That's all we've got from down here. That's going to put a cap on it here from ROK Vegas 2024. Back to you in the booth.
Keegan Kaminsky talked about knowing what his job was and doing it. Well, I think everyone did that here at ROK Vegas here in 2024 from an event promotion and an event production side. Massive thank you to our production team. That is Jason Larea's group. Brandon Hacker, Ryan and Chris Cathcart come out with Bob Sickles from the West Coast out of Rock Sonoma. This group has streamed those races for quite a while now. And this season, they took on the massive task of streaming all ROK Cup USA National Racing in 2024, making it an in-house product by the direction of Jason Larea. It has gone so well, in my opinion, and the fact that ROK Cup USA makes these streams available to all of you around the world for free, I think is a major deal when it comes to growing the sport of karting. So again, thank you to our production team of Jason Larea, Brandon Hacker, Ryan, and Chris Cathcart, and Bob Sickles. They did a fantastic job on the cameras, switching, the audio, everything went so well here this weekend at ROK Vegas. Chris Wheeler said it best. It was a fun weekend of racing, lots of hard work put in by the teams and drivers, and there you see the mass of crew down at the scale line waiting for the Nash Motorsports VLR seniors to clear tech. Podiums will be taking place as soon as that happens. They will not be streamed. I know there's a few folks asking in the YouTube chat. Podiums will not be streamed, unfortunately. So this is where we leave you. The Chris Wheeler, you can find them on Instagram there, and myself, Tony Laporta, just so fortunate and so grateful to talk you through 3 great days of racing action here at ROK Vegas. Said a little while ago, if you think you're fast in a go-kart, come to a ROK Cup USA event and find out. You'll probably have a pretty good time in the process. So 3 days of racing are done here, and ROK Cup USA is finished for 2024. But not too very long until things will kick back off in the Florida Winter Tour for 2025. More information about that will be coming out very, very soon. For everyone here at ROK Cup USA, as well as the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in sensational Las Vegas, Nevada, my name's Tony Laporta. Thanks for watching. We will see you down the road.